Is this thing on? All right, everybody, welcome back. Did you know?
No.
We have a live show.
Oh!
March 5th.
Do we really?
March 5th.
I don't know if we've talked about it at all.
Sorry for your ears. I just shouted in the mic.
March 5th, Midwest Coast Brewing. We, all three of us, myself, Justin Lynch, and Lee Grassman, will all be at Midwest Coast Brewing in person live streaming the game against the Ottawa Senators a month from today. 1 month exactly from today. RSVP link is in the description of this episode. Game starts at 6:30. You guys are welcome to get there at 6. We'll be there well before then setting up. Just want to say thank you to all our friends over at Midwest Coast Brewing for setting us up. It's going to be a really fun time. Discounted beers, just all the kind of fun you could ever want. And yeah, I mean, you get to watch us in person. And if you can't make it, I know we've had some people say, oh, I don't live in Chicago. I live in Florida. I live in Texas. I live in Vancouver. I live in Ontario. That is okay. The stream will be available wherever you get your streams regularly on the Chicago Hockey Radio YouTube channel. Please subscribe there.
Please.
Please. My God, please.
Yeah.
Please subscribe. No, all right. But yeah, Midwest Coast Brewing, March 5th, 1 month from today, whole rooftop to ourselves. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chicago Blackhawks v. Ottawa Senators. So it is a Hawks game day. The Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and co. are in town. They picked up a win against St. Louis Blues last night. We'll tee up the game. Shout out Brandon, who will be going to the game on CHR's behalf.
You're welcome.
If you're listening right now, Brandon, enjoy those 4 nice seats. Tag us in some pictures. Should be really fun. Good. I want to say good luck to you, but he already got all the luck. Yeah. He already won the draw. Dude, we had like 200 people that we had to like sort through, like rank 1 to 32 from most attractive to least. No, I'm just kidding. No.
So that's how we determined it.
No. But we just, everybody like got a number basically, and then we pulled a random number, using a generator, and Brandon was the first guy that popped up, so he got the tickets, and he's pretty pumped about it. So, Oilers on deck tonight. Justin and I will be on the post-game show tonight.
It's gonna be a late one.
Yeah, no, 8:30 start time, 9:30 for you Eastern, but 8:30 start time for a home game is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, what's up with that? It's at Chicago, but it's I guess because it's TNT, right? So that's why it works out that way because it's 7 o'clock down to 9:30 Eastern. But it is what it is. Plus, TNT always means that the game starts like 20 minutes after the actual scheduled start time. So it's probably more like a 9 o'clock Eastern start. But that is what it is. Looking forward to the game nonetheless. Connor versus Connor, a lot to look forward to. The Hawks just finished up playing the Stanley Cup winners from last year. Get a 3-day break, and now they get rewarded with the Stanley Cup finalists. So it doesn't really get any easier for this club. Yeah.
I think that the late start's also probably pretty nice for Edmonton as they went to overtime last night in St. Louis. So maybe a little bit more rest. Probably not. I don't even know how that works. They'll probably have more time for a long nap during the day or something like that.
Yeah, I would say that would favor the Hawks, the fact that, we've had 3 days off and they're in a back-to-back. But, we're also the Chicago Blackhawks and they're the Edmonton Oilers. So, there's really not much you could say about the Hawks in terms of favoring them in this matchup. Yeah. And we know they tend to fare on nationally televised games as well. The last one clearly went very well against the Panthers, right?
If you're looking for an edge in this game, I don't know if sleep is going to be the main thing you're looking at.
Yeah, no.
Maybe high-end talent.
All right. Where do you want to start with this here? Thoughts on the lineup? You want to talk about Craig Smith making his return to the lineup after 11 games on the sidelines? He'll draw back in tonight, and Colton Dach will sit as his replacement. Nice to see Craig Smith back. Maybe you can get him some games before the trade deadline here and see if you can ship him off for a pick or something. But, it's tough for me to be like, sitting Colton Dach is the right move.
That's the thing. It's like, on one hand, it is nice to see Smith back, but that also means you have to take out a young player. Like Colton Dach, I think, has been playing well, so it's a shame we have to scratch him. And there's a few decisions as a lineup that don't really make a lot of sense to me. We kind of teed up a little bit in the last show, but I don't think you need both Slager and Donato up there with Bedard. I think you could have one of the two. I understand rewarding Slagers and playing well. You could have him up there, but I don't think you need Donato as well. They kind of play the same type of role, I think. Breaking up both Nazar Bertuzzi from the Bedard line is a little questionable to me. I know they had a couple off games for their standards, but they've clearly shown good chemistry together, so I don't love breaking that up. They're on the third line there, Foligno, so we'll see how that works out. Same second line we've seen, the defensive shutdown line, Tabo, Dickinson, Mikheyev, and then Lucas Reichel is back as the 4C of Maroon and Smith. We've seen that line a lot this year, so we'll see how that plays out. I don't love Reichel being stapled to that bottom six role, but it is what it is. They've obviously played them together a lot this season. Doc scratched, then the D pairs. Brody somehow is still in there. I'm not sure how Allen is scratched yet again. I don't really understand that. I don't think there really is an explanation for that, but TJ Brody is still in there. Joe draws back in. And then, the same, top two pairs there. Levshinov obviously just practicing. So we'll see of those 8 defensemen who gets someone of them probably got to get sent down pretty soon with Smith getting activated off of the IR. Or maybe not because Crevier was placed on IR. So I guess that kind of balances out. But and then Soderblom starting. So that might be a positive there, right? Good to get him back in. I'd say I feel more confident with Soda and not than Mrazek. So, from that standpoint, hopefully he can keep us in the game tonight for sure.
Few comments I'd make, just kind of reiterating a little bit what Justin said. But, dude, I would like to see Nazar, Bedard, Slager on the first line. I think that would be cool and fun.
The kid line, right?
The kid line. Haven't really tried it yet. I think that'd be awesome for Bedard because it's he's two guys on his wings that are both hungry for pucks and are going to retrieve for him, and both fast, tenacious guys. So I think that is a line that I hope they wheel out at some point over the rest of the season. Craig Smith sliding back in. It's good that he's back from injury, but it stinks that it's at the expense of Doc coming out of the lineup. Hopefully we can move on from him and maybe a couple more veteran guys here at the deadline. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of these guys, of the young players coming out of the lineup just for the sake of rotation of these veterans who have not proven or deserved any of this ice time, whatever. And then, dude, TJ Brody, what's the plan with TJ Brody? Realistically, we're sitting Nolan Allen, who's objectively been better than him.
He's got to be blackmailing someone at this rate.
It feels like it. It's what dirt does he have on the Blackhawks front office? Because I don't understand why this guy's getting all these starts. And you got a whole nother year of it. So they're going to have to figure that situation out over the offseason because he's obviously not going to be moved at the deadline or anything. Yeah, that might have to be like a contract extermination or something, because like Nolan Allen should be playing. That's objective truth. Obviously sucks that Crevier's injured and out, and we're hoping that he's back as soon as possible because he's been a big part of this group defensively. But it is nice that Connor Murphy can kind of just slide right back in with Vlasic, who they've played countless games together. So
for me, what this says, and I'll be interested to see what the ice times look like by the end of the game, right? But this is probably Anders Sorensen's best attempt at a balanced, at least top three lines, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised if the ice time amongst the top three lines is relatively even by the end of the game, because I look at the third line, right? Foligno, Nazar, Bertuzzi, and I'm like, man, he's not really going to give them like traditional third line ice time.
Yeah, that's more of a second line. Yeah, for this team. Yeah.
And then but even then the second line, are you really going to play Teravainen and Dickinson and Mikheyev? Like
that's your shutdown line. They go against McDavid every time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is his best attempt at balance. The other thing that this kind of tells me too is with all the Bedard talk we've been doing, like there's no, like I guess you could say Ryan Donato's a veteran, quote unquote, to help him out, right? But this is probably the most attempt at a line that we've seen that is like, hey, like go out there and drive your own line, right?
Mm-hmm. There's something to be said for that, right? And they could kind of take care of most of the defensive responsibilities. Two physical guys who can kind of get in the puck as well. Win those board battles, that's one area Betsy probably isn't the greatest at. So from that standpoint, yeah, he is like the driver of that line. Doesn't really have somebody with him though, kind of has a similar play style like Nazar. So we'll see how that works out. I think there have been attempts at that this season, but Donato at times has shown pretty good chemistry of him. So and he's had a good season. Up that trade value before the deadline, right, from that standpoint. So and Slager, he's been playing so well. Maybe they could complement each other pretty well from that standpoint. So I see the logic that Sorensen. I understand why he's pairing them together with Bedsy, but it does seem like probably a short-term solution here. I mean, we only have 3 games left until the break, so I may as well try something different, I guess. Yeah.
I also think it'll be nice to see Nazar be kind of like the guy driving, the play on the line and not being just like a complimentary player to Bedard. So we'll see how that works out. But I don't know. There might be a lack of speed with Bertuzzi and Foligno. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully they get pretty favorable matchups. Justin just mentioned that the Dickinson line is probably going to be out there against McDavid for, you would assume, the majority of the game.
But somebody's still got to go up against Draisaitl, though, So that's the thing.
on Edmonton's daily faceoff right now, they have Leon and McDavid playing together.
Oh, really?
On the first line with Corey Perry. So you can hammer him for a point tonight.
What is Corey Perry up there, McDavid and Draisaitl? Oh, yeah. I mean, for a Blackhawk, he's probably going to go off tonight. But I'd say that probably helps from the Hawks standpoint. I mean, that's one less time you have to worry about, a mismatch in terms of the matchups there if you're kind of just front-loading that top line there. So that could be a good thing. And for Nazar, I do think that's probably more the plan for him. Like, he is going to be probably a center long-term, so you want to see him kind of drive his own line like Bedsy. That's kind of his game, right? Be his own player, not just Bedard's wingman. So I get that. But another thing I want to mention, too, is, like, I've noticed, like, this roster had been getting a lot younger, but now it's like all the unks are returning, right? Murphy's back, Smith's back. All of a sudden, we're getting older again right before the deadline. So hopefully we could ship off some of these guys and just spend the rest of the season, playing the young guys. Yeah.
Realistically, though, who do you guys think we still can ship out?
I mean, Donato, I feel like is the one guy of like value that teams are going to want. I've seen his name in a lot of talks, and we've talked about Seth a lot. Whether that actually happens, who knows? But like a lot of these guys, like nobody's going to want Martinez, nobody's going to want Brody, like you said. I do think with the cap going up, it makes a lot of sense for the Hawks to exterminate that contract. I don't think there'd be too much repercussions for that, considering that. But a lot of these guys, like nobody's going to want Murphy. Probably is just getting back. Maroon, maybe, I don't know. Smith. I'd say before his injury, he was having decent production, but like he just got back, and I don't know how many teams are going to want Craig Smith. So like that's the point. Like I don't think there's really a lot of value here that teams are going to look at. Like, oh, I want that guy. There's only a few players in this team I think who probably are going to get moved. Maybe somebody looks at Peter. I don't know.
I think giving Smith a run of games is worthwhile here, just because I think just at $1 million cap hit, I think that there might be a taker as long as he doesn't look horrible now in his return. Yeah, but I don't see Martinez or Brody getting moved. And then the thing with Donato is I've heard some rumblings. I know some Blackhawks pundits don't want them to ship off Donato, but we'll see.
But then it's like, if you're not shipping him off, then who are you shipping off?
Yeah.
They might be done at this rate. That Hall trade may have been it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but I think you're right. It looks like Donato, Smith, and Maroon are probably the only guys you're probably gonna, be able to move just cap wise, unless you use one of your retention spots.
Yeah.
Your last retention spot.
I mean, I personally think that you can't not find a way to move out somebody. There are teams. I think of a team like the Ottawa Senators right now who have not been in the spot that they're currently in a long time. If you're Steve Stais in Ottawa, like, you need to go out and make some sort of move. I don't know if you want to pull up like the Ottawa Senators lines and stuff, but I'm almost positive that they could use a little bit of help in the bottom six. Donato's been linked to the Maple Leafs at times too.
I saw the Panthers thrown out there as well.
Yeah, like some of these teams that might just need depth. And I've said that Pat Maroon should have been out the door probably weeks ago. But it's not because Pat Maroon's going to be an everyday lineup player for you, right? Like, Pat Maroon is what he is. He's at best on a team trying to compete for the Stanley Cup, a 13th, maybe a 14th guy, which is fine. But in the Stanley Cup playoffs, if you intend on going 3-4 rounds in the playoffs, you need
standby players, right? Because guys are going to get banged up, right?
Yeah, like you need 13, 14, 15 guys even, and 7, 8 defensemen that you wouldn't mind playing in the playoffs, or that won't like absolutely kill you. And I don't think that Pat Maroon on a really good team, like, keep in mind the guys he's playing with, the veterans, the motivation probably isn't there, for him a ton for a lot of these games, right? Which is unfortunate to say, but I don't think he's really getting juiced up for a lot of these Hawks games, right?
I think that's fair to say.
So I think, like, being able to move him out, like even maybe a return to Boston, like it seemed like he really enjoyed his time in Boston there for a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if like a guy like Craig Conroy is done in Calgary. Like, he's made, he made the Farabee and Frost additions to bolster up his team. Like, a lot of people are raving about Craig Conroy being one of the better GMs in the NHL sneakily. So why not like try and inquire about some guys, right? Minnesota seems to have pretty good depth. I know you want to have a Dallas discussion later, Justin, but maybe.
Do you want to do it now?
Dallas discussion. Yeah, I mean, no, we could. I just think that Dallas could be poised to do something bigger, which is what you had in the notes too. And I was seeing some stuff like that. Like, I don't know if like Donato and Pat Maroon is really like needle moving for the Dallas Stars.
Well, I was thinking, Heiskanen just got knee surgery. He's going to be out for months here. Who knows if he's going to be back this season, right? They have over $13 million in cap space, like. Maybe take a look at Seth Jones. They're like, his name's been thrown out to Dallas, so maybe there's something there, maybe there's not. But I can't help but look at that hole in the lineup and that cap space available, and think that there might be another move on the horizon there of Dallas. They gotta at least be looking at him.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I just think you're playing with fire if you're trying to win a deal against Jim Nill.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's probably one of the best, maybe the best GM in hockey, but we'll see from that standpoint. At this point, like, there's maybe an argument with the cap going up that the contract for Seth isn't even really hurting us that much. So maybe there's an argument to just keeping him, like, if you can't get back a solid return. But at the same time, it does open up more space for the young guys to slide into. So I think there's an argument on both sides. Yeah,
I think we're all in agreement that we don't want to retain.
No,
on Seth.
Well, that's the thing. And like, since they have the cap space now, they theoretically shouldn't have to, at least to not retain a ton, right? You would think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would be a desperation move. I feel like from Dallas's standpoint, if they were to, but
like, if it depends on Heiskanen, right? But like, if he's not returning this season, like you can't just. You got to do something about that. Yeah, but this is a potential cup team here. Like,
you might have to do something about it, but that doesn't mean you're taking a guy whose contract is 9.5 till 2030.
Yeah, I'm more thinking about the short term, but the long term applications that wouldn't make a ton of sense. Yeah.
A team that I really think should do something is the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, like, we've talked about that a lot.
They absolutely should. They should reward these fans. Like, I know they have a bright future and they have a ton of young talent, but it's like, dude, do something now. Like, you got two of your top players injured for who knows how long. You're right there on the playoff cusp, and you've seen from the past couple of games, they're not good. They're not going to make the playoffs without Monahan and Marchenko. They're just not. So they need to do something if they want.
They're probably looking to forward though, right? That's kind of more their need right now. I don't know if Seth Jones is really what they need.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about Seth Jones. I'm just saying in general, like
maybe Donato or somebody like that.
Yeah. Like that's a team that could like something could happen with one of our forwards, like even a guy like Mikheyev or something, or Jason Dickinson. I don't know. I'm just thinking like we have one more retention spot. We could make a deal like that with Columbus. So
I just think at this point, and we put the clip out there yesterday of us talking. I mentioned in the caption of the clip that the culture of the locker room. We've talked a lot about like only the young guys showing up to optional morning skates, and your comment on that post, Justin, was like, what did you say exactly?
I said the vets are all talk, the kids are all action.
So, and that's pretty evident when you watch the hockey games, right? Like, Nazar's out there putting in more of an effort, than Taylor Hall ever did this season. Bedard is his own kind of animal, but like, Colton Dock has like brought a certain spark and an energy to the group, right? So
Slagger, for sure.
If the three of us know that sitting in this room right now, then Kyle Davidson almost certainly has to know that. So then you'd have to imagine that the fact that he's sitting guys like Doc and Del Mastro and Allen for some of these vets, he must know that there is some market out there for some of these players.
So that could be the rationale, right? Because if you're just scratching these guys, nobody's going to want them. So, and there's only a month left till the trade deadline. So try to get some sort of value for them and get some takers there and make this roster younger the rest of the year. Open up slots for these young players to fill in. We don't have to be scratching them every other night, right?
You have to, at this point, you have to hope that's the rationale.
Well, otherwise he just may not know what he's
negligence,
doing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, or they're tanking on purpose. You know what I mean? Like they are purposely tanking, right?
By not playing young players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much you could do to keep up with the Sharks in that regard. They are a tanking machine over there. Yeah.
Yeah. But at least, like, I don't know, and not to do the Sharks v Hawks comparison, we do that too much, but like, man, like I watched that game against the Habs last night, and they, the Sharks ended up losing. But dude, those kids on San Jose have so much fight in them. Like they, whatever. This isn't a comparison between Bedard and Celebrini, but to say that like Macklin Celebrini doesn't go out there every game and give 120% to try and win hockey games is wrong. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And that's what I'm saying about the young kids here is like,
I think it's the same deal. Yeah, for sure.
Like Colton Dock at 100% is better than Pat Maroon at 75%. He's better than Pat Maroon at 100%, maybe. But he's certainly better than Pat Maroon at 75%.
Yeah.
I feel like the Sharks have done a better job from that standpoint, consistently playing the young guys and giving them more minutes, whereas that hasn't really been consistent here. I think it's getting better. Second half of the season with sorts, and it has improved, but it hasn't been consistent. Yeah.
No.
I also think this whole discussion kind of goes to show how poor the offseason acquisitions were this past season.
Seriously,
like, we're saying that playing our veterans is intentionally trying to lose games.
I mean, really,
it's true. It's a true statement.
It is,
but it's a shocking one nonetheless.
You can't sit here and tell me that sitting these guys, like sitting these kids,
you're completely
not
correct.
Making the team worse.
Colton Dock not being in the lineup is if it weren't for trying to move trade pieces, it would be completely criminal.
The rationale was it was supposed to be better for these guys' development because they let them, take their time and stuff. But like, if anything ends up being worse for it, because like then you're sitting, you're not even playing. It's like then you're not getting better, you're not improving, right? It's not like it's helping the team at all, too. So from that standpoint, so I think really only Tavo and Bertuzzi were the good additions there. You could argue the rest of them didn't make a whole lot of sense, and they've just been taking up spots and not really for no reason, right? That's from that standpoint. I think KD hopefully will learn from that in the future. Hopefully this offseason won't strap himself to that same sort of a conclusion there, right?
Yeah, and I think the point that you made right there is like, where these kids aren't getting better is the press box.
Yeah,
exactly, right? I mean, maybe occasionally, like sit out a game, watch, you might learn something, but like it hasn't been an occasional thing. It's been a constant thing of this team, and like you're not going to improve that way.
The other thing too
you'd be better off playing top line minutes in Rockford. Yeah.
You can watch an NHL game on ESPN any night of the week. You don't have to be doing it from the press box.
Yeah, no.
And it's not like, I mean, it's not like, Colton Dock. It's not like it was a 4-3 game and Colton Dock had like a brutal giveaway,
howler.
you know,
Yeah.
like, and it's like, hey man, like, all right, now you're gonna go sit and learn, right? Like the whole team, as soon like they stopped playing after the 7-second mark of that game, right? You know, like they packed it in. The Florida Panthers decided, oh yeah, we're the Florida Panthers. That's right. They remembered who they were. And then they went out and thoroughly dominated the Hawks every single possession the rest of the hockey game. And you know, not having, you know, Colton Dock or Frank, like that's not the solution that's going to get you to win that game or even be more competitive in that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. The defense one is even more puzzling to me. Yeah.
I just think that like these lineup moves going forward with Kyle Davidson, like the conversation is not there yet to whether or not, you know, he's going to be kept or fired or anything. Like his seat is not that hot, but when that conversation,
but it's warm. It's not hot, but it's warm.
When that conversation does come, maybe next year, if these lineup moves are just happening just because they think that they should and they think we need the veteran players out there, this is going to be a con. When you're looking at the pros and cons of Kyle Davidson, this is going to be something that he completely messed up. But if this is just happening for them to, you know, have these guys get some tape out there to hopefully move them within the next however many days, then, you know, it's okay.
I think this is also more evidence that the Hawks like desperately need to get this coaching thing right in the offseason. We can't get that wrong again. This is Davidson's second shot here. I think we already knew this isn't really new, but like this kind of confirms like this is a Richardson-esque decision from Sorensen, right? He's not that guy as a placeholder. The Hawks need to nail in the offseason in terms of getting a proper coach for this team, you know, to bring these young guys along and develop.
Yeah. One of the higher things on the offseason checklist, I think.
Might be the highest, honestly. I mean, there's that. Nailing the draft, you know, offseason, get, you know, big fish and free agency. Like, those are really the big three right there. Yeah.
Oh, do you want to do some Oilers talk? I wanted to ask you guys, like, what, you know, because McDavid and Draisaitl are lined up together. And to me, for the Oilers over the last few years, you know, before they really evolved into the Stanley Cup contender that we know them as right now.
They used to rely on him so much.
Well, they, you know, and they still kind of do.
You
watch an Oilers game, but putting them together on the same line was almost like a panic move. Like, hey, we need something, and the rest of the lineup isn't going, so we're gonna play you two together, and we're gonna just like play you both 25, almost 30 minutes a night, and hopefully
now it's more of a power
happens.
move.
Yeah, but it almost still feels, you know, like to me the Oilers are a better hockey team when McDavid is driving his own line and Draisaitl is driving his own line, and then you have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in that third line spot, or maybe you even move him up to the wing to play with Draisaitl, which I know is something that he's familiar with too. But now, like, and I don't want to say like the Oilers aren't like free falling like they were early this season, early last season. Like they've really turned the ship here. But I still just, you know, to me, for Chris Knobloch, you know, to play them together is almost just like it feels like a panic move a little bit. Like it feels like oh my gosh, and they're leading the division, so this isn't like, you know, like crazy, you know. But it's just like, are you really going to win the Stanley Cup with those two guys on the same line?
We'll see.
I also feel like you can afford to do that against a team like the Chicago Blackhawks, right? I don't think it's something you'll be doing like come playoff time when you're playing, you know, teams that are on the same level, right? Yeah.
I also wonder when this was updated because, I mean, that move to put them together, it is like it's like a last resort lethal. Like you're down in a game, you
nuclear
put them
option.
together. Yeah, it's the nuclear option.
Like Hawks would do with Kane Tay sometimes. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know when this was up, but yeah, I think that optimistic, like for them, the best optimal lineup is not having them play together and them having their own lines. And I think they have enough talent on the team to make, you know, two legit lines. And I honestly like this fourth line right here of Podkolzin, Janmark, and Connor Brown. I think is like a solid fourth line.
Janmark, another Hawks legend. Yeah, put the props on him tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Oilers' depth, like it's improved, but like I must be said, I feel like those offseason acquisitions haven't really panned out the way they probably expected. Like Jeff Skinner, 9 goals, 8 assists in 47 games. Was that really what they signed up for? They signed Jeff Skinner, and you know, R. Vincent as well, same amount, 17 points. So, you know, it's gotten better from that standpoint where they could play McDavid and Draisaitl together and still have that depth that they didn't have before. But it does feel like maybe this team could still use, you know, a bit more from that standpoint.
I also think that people are always like with the Leafs and the Oilers and some of these teams that are a little top heavy, people always blame the depth. But I'd imagine it's pretty hard to have like true secondary scoring on like a third or fourth line of one of these teams when you're just not playing the minutes that you need to score, you know? Like,
well, yeah, when you have two of the best players in hockey, it's like that there's something to be said for that, right? Like they're going to take up the bulk of your scoring.
of course.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, of course they're not going to be scoring as much as you would want them to if they're playing, 12 minutes a night.
To go back to Jeff Skinner though, like I mean, he's clearly not been a fit there. And I don't know what it is with Skinner. He's a shooter. This is a guy who scored 40 goals in the NHL before. But when you're playing with a Draisaitl, which I know they've tried quite a bit with Skinner, you got to be able to do other things. You can't just expect to be ripping the puck all the time. Yeah. Like there are other parts that you have to, you have to work for the puck. You have to help Leon cycle it. You have to, pick your spots a little bit better. You got to go to the front of the net more. You're not going to score
and that's
from distance.
Not really Jeff Skinner's game.
No.
Yeah. It doesn't really complement. Yeah.
No. And the other thing too is like, Draisaitl has really turned into one of the better defensive forwards in the league. The Oilers have this expectation, and Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, like they play their own kind of game, but they still carry an expectation to the rest of the group. Like, hey, we're going to play a playoff style of hockey, right? Mm-hmm. And to be fair, Jeff Skinner's never played a playoff game in his life.
That is insane. And he's he's been in the league for over a decade and he's never played an NHL playoff game. I feel bad for him. That's when you're stuck in Buffalo and Carolina before they're good for your whole career. That's how it's going to play out, right? But hopefully we'll break that streak here.
Yeah, unless he gets shipped out, I think that he's going to be playing in one this year.
I think he has a no trade clause too. So he would need to, like, if the Oilers were to try and move him out, like he would need to waive his a no move. Like somebody can confirm that for me, but I think he has a no move for this year. So I don't think he's going to want to leave. Like, why would you want to leave? You moved to Edmonton for the year because you've never played a playoff game. And this is a team that could theoretically win the Stanley Cup, even if you're sitting on the sidelines, right? And, a cup's a cup, right?
When he does play his first playoff game, will he set the record for like most games until his first playoff game in terms of like regular season games? I have to think so.
I remember Jay Bouwmeester was a guy for a long time. Ron Hainsey, when like he hadn't played a playoff game and then he was on the Penguins and he won the Stanley Cup his first year in the playoffs. So I don't know if he would break the record.
He's played over 1,000 games. If he's not breaking the record, he's close. Yeah. That's insane.
I don't think Skinner has a no move.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm not seeing it anymore. Okay. Just has a
check this out. The last time Jeff Skinner played in the playoffs was 2010 for the Kitchener Rangers. Let me read off his stats here. I think he's ready for playoff hockey. 20 games, 20 goals, 13 assists, 33 points. It's 15 years in the making, but I don't know. He may have been asleep this regular season. I think he may have just been saving it for the playoffs, man. Jeff Skinner playoff run might be something to witness here.
Something I want to talk about a little bit, Edmonton related here while we're on the subject. Draisaitl is the front runner, betting wise for the Hart Trophy. Do you guys think? Do you think McDavid's gonna they're kind of gonna eat away at each other? Because McDavid is like the fourth highest odds on there, and Draisaitl's the first. So it's like I don't know. I hate like MVP in all of sports. It's not just a hockey thing because it's like you say most valuable player, but it's like rarely the most valuable player ever wins.
Yeah, it's mostly just whoever wins the Hart tends to win whoever wins the Hart Ross tends to win the Hart these days.
It's just whoever like the best player on a team that's performing well wins it. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see Hellebuck's up there, McKinnon's up there, Kucherov, Hughes, I feel like the value are on those guys because especially if McDavid's able to turn it on here for the remainder of the season, it's like, do you argue that Draisaitl's the most valuable player on his team when it's obviously he's had the best year, but I don't know. How do you
Well,
guys
he
feel
has
about
won the
that?
Hart over McDavid before. I think it was the 2020 season, I want to say. And this year, I would argue this year, yeah. I mean, he's having one of those types of seasons. McDavid has missed a little bit of time, with the suspension. I think he had an injury too, and it wouldn't surprise if he turned down the Jets and passed the rest of the season here. But normally, I would say no. But based off of this year, I think you can make that argument. Tassos has been such a complete player this year. Yeah.
I just think for me, the Hart is you have to vote by the definition of the trophy. And I'm not saying that's how
no one does it.
Nobody does that.
Yeah,
no. Some people do. Some people really die on the hill of the definition of the Hart Trophy is most valuable to your team, right?
In that case, this year, I think it should go to. They're not going to make the playoffs, but if they did, then it should go to Quinn Hughes to the Canucks.
It should go to a guy like Quinn Hughes is on my ballot. Yeah, but you know what? People say Hellebuck, but Kyle Connor is 6th in the league scoring right now, and Mark Scheifele is tied for 11th. People forget
they have one of the best lines in hockey.
I look at a guy maybe like David Pastrnak, even who's been unbelievable.
He's led the NHL in points since the calendar year 25. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's driving the bus there. You look at outside of him, there's really not much there. If the Bruins somehow make the playoffs, I think he has to get a ton of consideration for sure.
Yeah, I just think that there's other guys, that can do this. I don't know.
It's like make an MVP trophy and then make a best player trophy.
Well, they do. That's kind of what the Ted Lindsay is. It's the best player voted on by the players.
Yeah.
I always think of the Ted Lindsay and Hart as kind of hand in hand. Whoever, I just feel like it's happened a lot where whoever wins the Hart tends to win the Lindsay, etc. Yeah.
Really? I feel like it's
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm on to nothing there. I don't know. I
think they should have more awards. Low key, I think there should be
a defensive defenseman award because the Norris always goes to the highest producing points defenseman. Doesn't mean they're the best defenseman, right? There should be a type of award like that, like a Rod Langway award for best defensive D-man stuff. I know that's been thrown out there. It's not an original thought by me, but that does feel like something that's missing there. There used to be an award for best plus minus or something, and I don't think I'm not saying that's what it should be because I think there's more to defense than plus minus, but something along those lines, right? That award those players like the Jacob Slavins, right?
Yeah. You're just gonna have dudes just being plus minus merchants out there.
So Justin's actually right here. The player that wins the Ted Lindsay, the last time a player, so McKinnon, McDavid, going backwards, these are all both Ted Lindsay and Hart winners. McKinnon last year, McDavid, Matthews, McDavid, Draisaitl, Kucherov. The last time a player won the Ted Lindsay that didn't win the Hart,
I don't know.
Taylor Hall. When Taylor Hall won MVP in 2018, Connor McDavid won the Ted Lindsay that year.
Damn.
Well, that was one of the Hart Trophy seasons of all time, from Taylor Hall there. But it must be said, he was, in terms of most valuable player, that Devils team would not have been a playoff team without him. And then it's kind of the downhill from there for him. He's been Mr. Suitcase. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that season. I think when Kaner won in 2016, I think he won both as well. Yeah.
Yeah. The only other time it's happened was, as far back as I'm looking, in 2013, Alexander Ovechkin won the Hart and Crosby won the Ted Lindsay. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Those two would be the type to split that award. Yeah, that was that lockout shortened season. No.
Yeah, and then 2011, Corey Perry won the Hart, Daniel Sedin won the Lindsay. Yeah, so it's happened a few times, but generally you're right, actually, that it tends to go to both players. But, this year it feels like that it should
be different.
It could be different, and it probably should be different, right? It seems like McKinnon and Draisaitl are going to trade spots for the scoring title the rest of the way here. But yeah, I could see this, especially if a team like the Bruins or the Canucks get into the playoffs. You could argue too. I've said this before. Other people have this take too that you could give the Hart to McDavid every year, and the Ted even with Draisaitl on the team, do the
by definition, there's nobody's even close to more valuable to his team than Connor McDavid.
Yeah, nobody. Even if imagine Connor McDavid without the Oilers and it's just Draisaitl there. Are they even a playoff team?
No.
Maybe.
Yeah, you can't drive the bus alone. They need each other. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Do you think the Oilers can make the playoffs without Draisaitl?
Probably.
I think they'd still make the playoffs, but might not be not a cup contender though. I think you need both.
Yeah. Of course.
And that goes for every superstar. I take to tie us back to the Hawks. You always need that complement, right? The generational talent can never do it by himself. So hint, hint, Kyle.
Yeah. All right. No, I'm just reading the comments. Love the Stanley Cup, Tassos. It's too heavy. Can I just say, like, I don't know why people.
That's my girlfriend.
I wasn't seeing that.
Yeah. But no, go. This is perfect. She put you into a segue here.
You know what? There must be something set for that. That pisses me off now. When you look up Stanley Cup on Google, it's no longer the NHL Stanley Cup. It's like those Stanley Cups that tend to appear now. That is absolutely devastating, it must be said.
It's too heavy. Like, my mom gave me this because I don't think she wanted it in her house anymore. But, like, you fill this thing up with water, and it's like a workout to, like, lift this up and drink out of it.
Maybe that's the thought process, right? For those people who aren't getting the gym every day, at least they'll get a little bit of a workout in there. Yeah.
Makes me want to drink water less.
Really I'm always going through a ton of water, man. But there's pros and cons to that.
I need a nice, like, light cup.
I did not have Stanley Cup talk, but those Stanley Cups on my CHR bingo card today.
We always have a few random talking points every episode, so it's good to get that out of the way, right?
They're fireproof, apparently. Why the fuck do you need a fireproof water cup? Like, isn't the water gonna?
Is it fireproof?
That's what Hayden just said.
We need to make a YouTube like video compilation of the season, like all like the CHR like tangents or something like that. That could be a series.
Are you gonna sift through the 500 hours of content?
No, that's no Raven could do that, not me. Or somebody else could do that. Those
that sounds
those
like
clip
hell.
people could do that. Yeah, no, not me. That's not my job.
That sounds like pain.
Yeah.
All right.
Max Payne.
CHR Stanley
Any other
Cups
thoughts
win.
on this game? Not really, right? You know, it's who are the Oilers starting in net?
I wasn't
Is it
able
Pickard?
to see.
That's because you got to go to the starting goalies tab.
I always just go down here and click
Doesn't
on
Daily Faceoff always have that?
Yeah. No, they do. Lee's just looking in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
well, Skinner started yesterday, so you got to assume.
Gotta be Pickard probably. So I would say, I mean, not that Skinner's inconsistent, but I'd definitely rather face Pickard, I'd say. So maybe that could be an advantage for the Hawks. I think, argue Soda's probably the stronger goaltender in this matchup. So that's one area the Hawks maybe have an advantage. And yeah, just the fact that they've had a few, but that's not always a good thing. Sometimes having a lot of days of rest isn't a great thing. It won't be surprised if the Hawks start this game kind of sleepy, but then the Oilers maybe hopefully have some fatigue from last night. So we'll see. In terms of score predictions, I mean, I can't really favor the Hawks in this matchup. I'd say this is definitely a win, a game for the Oilers you got to win, right? So I'll say they take it. I'll say 4-3 Oilers. Yeah. I think it's gonna be close though. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think the Hawks will make it interesting. Yeah.
You got one?
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Oh gosh. I'm going to say 4-3 Blackhawks. I think that coming off of a beating, a few days off, they better start hot. And late game, Edmonton Oilers, good opponent. We play up to our opponents. Bedard always plays well against the Oilers. I'll go 4-3 Hawks.
Yeah. He'll win the Connor matchup, right? And we're back home too. There's something to be said for that after a long road trip, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the Hawks get pumped tonight. I think this is prime pumping. It's points.
Like the Panthers pumping. Yeah.
Well, you say these things about this team like, oh, they should do this, they should do that, and then they don't do the things that they should do, right?
Yeah.
So I just think that getting out of a rhythm of playing every other day, like I wouldn't like the Hawks play 3 games in the next 4 days.
Yep.
What's up with that? 3 days off, and now we have 3 games of 4 days before the 4 Nations break. Very odd scheduling there.
Yeah, I just think that we're going to probably find the Hawks playing their best hockey of this stretch, probably at the tail end of it.
St. Louis for the stream.
St. Louis for the stream.
Panthers Friday. Got to win the tank there. St. Louis, that'd be even better, right? They will be wearing their Winter Classic jerseys for that one, so I'm sure that game will go great.
Are the Blues wearing theirs too?
That's right. Both. I'm pretty sure both teams are. For
that would be kind of goofy if only one of them did.
Yeah, it would be pretty goofy.
Sure. Another 6-2 loss to the Cards there. Way to remind us of that game that occurred that we witnessed.
I'm a little concerned about that Saturday St. Louis game just because it's for both teams though. It's going to be the last game before this break. Most of these players are looking at it like a mini vacation here. That could either mean it's going to be a fire game and both these teams are going to come out hungry because it's the last one, or both of them are going to be already checked out and on a mental vacation already. So
they already have their plane tickets booked to Cancun. This Hawks team, I'm sure. I mean, pretty much everybody. Nobody's playing the 4 Nations except for Teravainen. So there you go. I mean, it's not like any of these guys have anywhere to be.
Yeah, except Cancun.
Yeah. Golfing.
Yeah, South Florida.
It's not just the Saturday game, by the way. The Hawks are going to wear their Winter Classic jersey for 2 more games, February 23rd versus Toronto and March 7th versus Utah. So there you go. I guess it's such a nice jersey. May as well roll it out a few more times there. I guess I'll be wearing my Frank Nazar jersey over there over the break. Yeah.
They want more people to buy the jerseys. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a business deal, right? This team's got to do something like that.
I was
distract from the on-ice shenanigans.
Yeah, it's a Jamie Faulkner decision right there.
I was walking around Wrigley yesterday, and there's still sports shops selling the Winter Classic jerseys front of the store. You see it, you don't even need to walk in to see it. You just walk right by it, and it's like, man, there's probably a lot of those still unsold.
Yeah, I mean, it is a nice jersey, to be fair. Like, you can't really blame them.
To be fair. I was talking about this with Tim Tebow. It was like
the football player?
The football player, yes. I was like, they have to be discounted at this point, right? Like,
I mean, you would think. I mean, the game was a month ago. I don't know. But, I mean, they might think of it separate from just because the game occurred. That doesn't really matter. It's a Winter Classic jersey. I don't know. Yeah.
You think they have any Taylor Hall Winter Classic jerseys left?
I'm sure those are flying off the shelves.
Yeah, you're going to be scratching and clawing to get one of those.
I'm going to look up if they're any cheaper online.
It's funny you mentioned that. I know somebody, a guy kind of does what I do, who bought a Taylor Hall Winter Classic jersey, and it arrived the day he was traded.
That's brutal.
Oh, it's like, well, your first mistake was buying a Taylor Hall Winter Classic.
Yeah, that's on him.
You think he's going to stick around here? I don't think so.
Okay, you can buy on Fanatics website. You can buy a Winter Classic jersey. What was originally $190 for $74.99,
and they're still selling them for $240 down at
Wrigleyville Sports.
Yeah, so buy them online. If you're buying them in person, there, it's not a very smart financial decision. $70 for Winter. That's pretty good value for that. That's a nice jersey.
I actually might get one of those. I didn't realize that it was that cheap.
Do you guys have Winter Classic jerseys?
I don't. No.
Yeah. No. Oh, okay. I'm the only one then. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it with a potential discount. I mean, for $75, that's better than,
If you were to get a Hawks jersey, who would you?
It would be this. I wouldn't get a player.
Oh.
I wouldn't
get a bad.
It would just it would just be a blank jersey.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's fine. I kid you not, my Nazar Winter Classic jersey arrived like 2 days after the game. Like, it pissed me off so much. I could have worn it. I'm sure it would have made all the difference. We probably would have been pumped 6-3 instead of 6-2.
Yeah. So my score prediction for tonight, I'm going to say 5-2 Oilers.
Yeah, fair enough. A slight improvement from the Florida game.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a slight improvement on the ice, but maybe score wise.
I don't know. I think Craig Smith's going to come out hungry.
Stop, dude. Come on.
You wrote him off. He didn't write back.
He was playing pretty decent before he went down. I mean, he had something going there with Reichel for a little while to start the season, so maybe they can kind of rekindle that tonight. Yeah, we'll see. The X Factor fourth line, a connection of Craig Smith and Lucas Reichel. Here we go.
This is such loser talk right now. I can't even handle it.
Speaking of loser talk, do we want to talk about AHL All-Star Game?
You beat me to it. This is great transition there.
Like, this is loser talk of all loser talk.
How about Kevin Korchinski though? How about him?
It's an All-Star Game MVP. Hawks memes was loving that on Instagram. I saw he's eating that up.
Dude, goal and 4 assists. Do you see that shootout winner? Patrick Kane-esque forehand backhand there. The little Forsberg move. Beautiful from him. He looked great. We should get him up here now, right? I mean, let's reward him for his good play. Why are we still wasting spots with TJ Brody, now with Martinez, right? Get Kevin Korchinski up on this club right now. It's not going to happen, but I will say it.
I agree with the overall premise that you want Kevin Korchinski on the NHL roster, but that has nothing to do with his performance at the AHL.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can we be real at the fact that this is the American Hockey League All-Star Game?
That's like a double negative, or I don't know what the word I'm trying to look for, but it's like an AHL. I don't know. It's just like a funny concept.
I was watching it.
It's an oxymoron. There you go.
I was watching the Hawks games on Friday and Saturday. He looked good on them too. I mean, that was just mostly my recency take there, but being delusional. But he has been playing well for Rockford. I think he can play up here. Right? Not just because of that, but I think it's just good to see for his confidence, right? Even though it's just an expedition game, something like that, I think could do wonders, and just keep riding that momentum. Right? He's been playing with a lot of confidence lately. That's reason why I drafted him. See what he can do. Just got so much offensive upside. Good skater, right? And when he's playing confident, he can be dangerous. So another reason why the Hawks don't need to draft a defenseman in June there.
Oh gosh, I see you there shouting out oxymoron. Don't worry, I appreciate it.
God, you guys need to start reading the dictionary or something here.
Dude, no, it's not that I don't know the word. It was just, come on, the lights are bright. The lights were too damn bright.
The lights are better than expected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to perform. Wasn't able to figure it out.
I'm glad Kevin Korchinski was the best player among studs such as
come on.
such as Sam Colangelo, such as Trey Fix-Wolansky, Logan Shaw, Cole Gutman, Trevor Carrick.
Hey, let me tell you something about Trevor Carrick.
You know, he has a maple syrup company with his brother Sam on the New York Rangers.
Oh, Sam Carrick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Callahan. Come on, guys. The American Hockey League All-Star.
I mean,
team.
somebody's got to win the MVP, and he did it because he's that guy.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But it would make sense for a top prospect. You would expect them to be like, in that conversation there. So, and he was. So, good to see.
Matt Murray, not the Matt Murray you're thinking of, not Stanley Cup champion Matt Murray, the other Matt Murray.
Another one.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was another Matt Murray. I learned something every day.
Yeah, he's also a goalie.
There you go. He's cosplaying the real Matt Murray.
Vinny Hinostroza has been playing up with Nashville.
Blackhawk sledged. Was he placed on waivers recently?
No, he's been playing. He's been on Nashville. He's been playing games. I think he's been on like the first line in Nashville, which I mean speaks a lot about Nashville. I think, but
yeah, there you go. Right, but Blackhawks legend there, as we know.
Something stupid. Was it Monday night that it was just the Senators Nashville game?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the only game played that night.
Dude,
What's up with that?
I am such an idiot. I looked at that game and I was like, I'm gonna bet this game, and I just felt like the line was so suspect. Like Nashville were decent. They were like -130 favorites, and I was like, that's so weird. Any normal, sane person in their right mind who sees this is gonna bet on Ottawa here as underdogs. So I'm like, that's too obvious. So I took Nashville as like trying to beat the book. I'm an idiot. Horrible game. Nashville's terrible.
I thought it was kind of funny too, not to get not that this is political, but like in Ottawa they booed, the US anthem, and in Nashville they end up booing the Canadian anthem. I do wonder how that's going to be received in actually for this game tonight. We'll see. Yeah. That's all I'll say about it because I want to get controversial here.
No,
I don't think people in Chicago are really.
Yeah, they probably don't. But something that because people on Twitter are talking about it like crazy, obviously. And somebody said like, oh, there was cheering for the Canadian anthem in San Jose last night. Let's see if Chicago follows suit tonight. And it's like, there was cheering for the Canadian national anthem in San Jose last night because there were more Canadians fans there than San Jose. Dude, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, people are like this media narrative with like comparing the Sharks and like Anaheim and the Blackhawks. Like, don't compare us to those poverty franchises. I watched the Anaheim game last night versus Dallas. Dude, there was... I'm not kidding. This is going to sound like a joke. The ratio of Dallas to Anaheim fans in Anaheim was 2-1 in favor of Dallas. I'm not kidding. Like these South, I don't understand these markets. Like unless they're in the playoffs, nobody goes to a Ducks game or a San Jose Sharks game. No, you know what? There
is something to be said for that. Like the Hawks' attendance, despite their poverty the last few years, is still very strong. Yeah. They're not selling out every game, but like they're still in the 1,800 or 18,000 range, which is pretty solid, I think, up there in the league. And meanwhile, you look at the Sharks, you just get a so-called generational talent there. And their attendance compared to last season, I think it's really not any better. It's about the same. So there is something to be said from that standpoint. If we want to keep comparing those markets there, the media loves to do that.
Dude, the Blackhawks floor for attendance is like 15,000. Like Anaheim would scrape and crawl and claw for 15,000.
That's like their best case scenario. Yeah. Them and the Sharks. Yeah.
Yeah, we are not the same.
No, don't compare us again. Speaking of prospect talk, the Hawks ranked number 4 in Scott Wheeler's of the Athletics annual prospect ranking as well. Plus, a lot of those guys have made the jump now too. So the fact they're still 4, is pretty solid there. So thought I'd throw that in there as well. Keep reminding people our future is bright here. You just gotta be patient.
Exactly, it's worth talking about, and this draft is going to bolster it too. So it's like
it's only going to get better, right? Yeah. I mean, we're going to get such a haul in this draft, right?
Yeah, it's going to be obviously higher than 4 after this draft. So
top 3, maybe even 1. I don't know. Depends who we get, right?
Let's aim for 1 or 2. We'll see what we do with our first, our top pick.
Yeah, right. James Higgins. Yeah.
I was going to bring something up, but I totally forgot where I was going to go with that.
Do you want to get to the clips here? We got Artie Levshinaw's first practice at the Hawks.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear some of these clips.
Let's hear from the kid, Mr. Personality.
So how did it feel getting to practice in today with the Blackhawks?
It was cool, yeah. So excited, yeah. To be here. Yeah.
So How did you find out, or when did they tell you? What was your reaction when they said?
Yeah, I was so happy. Yeah, I was really excited. Yeah, to come here, and yeah, it's cool.
How's your season been going in Rockford?
I think it's going it's going good. I think we're playing good. Yeah, just need to win more games.
Yeah, how disappointed was it with your foot injury and just kind of delaying your career like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little frustrated, but I think I went through it, and now I feel good. Just working hard.
His English is better than I thought. I mean, he did go to an American university for a year, so
He is so funny, dude. His personality is hilarious. Like,
He's such a bubbly guy. Yeah.
can you imagine just like being in a locker room with that kid? Like, I bet they absolutely love him.
Protect him at all costs. He's like John Wick. He's constantly saying, "Yeah,
He's always
yeah."
like, he's like, yeah, I like fishing, guys. Yeah.
He just seems like such an exciting guy. I have to think from that step when he brings something extra to the locker room too, in addition to his on-ice play. Like, I'm sure it's a guy people love to be around. So I'm also glad that the Hawks did bring. I know it was a minor trade, but I'm glad they brought in that Kuzmin kid because I thought he had a pretty good week at the Hawks last week. I think he had an assist on one of his goals. So I think just to have somebody like that who speaks his language in the locker room, somebody's trained with him last season, an extra face in the room, I think is a positive move from the Hawks from that standpoint. And I think getting him a few practices up here at the Hawks, it kind of makes up for the time he lost, the start of the season with that injury. So I think it's good having him up here for free practices. Obviously, we'll have to see him in some game action, but I think it's honestly better just to be patient with him, let it wait, and maybe a few games at the end of the season to reward him. Yeah.
A just said in chat, need to visit Turkey for his hair, though. I love that.
Looked like he got electrocuted there.
No, that was hilarious. Just like the sweat. And I think A was just talking about the receding hairline. I love drafting a defenseman with a receding hairline at 18. I think that's a good thing. I think
He does not look like an 18-year-old man.
Yeah, you want defensemen to have receding hairlines. It's like one of those things, like correlation in the NHL. I think it's a good thing.
He's got my hairline there.
Do we want to listen to Sorensen talk
We're
about
both
his
balding.
practice?
Yeah, sure. He expands on Levchinov at first practice. Yeah.
For a couple months now, how much have you seen with one practice with Levchinov? What his game's done since you came to Chicago?
Yeah, progress, right? I think he obviously missed camp, so kind of a little bit of setback there, but it looks like he's up and running now. And thought today he handled himself well, and it was pretty intense practice, but he handled it well.
Where did you see improvement with him, or have you seen improvement with him?
I think just his overall game in terms of how he's gapping up on guys. He's a smooth skater, but it seems like his intensity and the decision making has improved in terms of when he's under pressure, right? So coming from college to the pro level, if it's AHL or not, it's a different pace of the game. And then today was a good step for him too to be up here.
What are you specifically looking to accomplish with him in his time here?
I think the biggest thing is just getting him up, just to get a feel for how it is at the NHL level practice. This is a good day. We have 2 practices here, so just get him to feel how that is and how, when a day like today looks like. And just get a feel for it and, take that with him.
And was there a discussion about, we're just going to give him a taste, not put him in any games, or that just a foregone?
He's going to practice with us as of now and then, go from there, yeah.
I feel like every clip we get is the same guy asking the questions.
Yeah.
What's
It's always
his name?
Philip Thompson.
It's
Yeah,
Philip
he's always
Thompson.
Mr. Yapper there. Nobody else can get anything in. Yeah.
My God. I mean, you want to see these things grow from him. This may be a bit of a hot take, which I don't think it should be. You drafted this kid second overall. Throw him in a game.
Right now.
Maybe not tonight.
one.
Maybe not tonight. Maybe not even Friday, because they play the Panthers again on Friday, isn't it?
Friday's the
No,
Predators. Saturday's
Predators.
the Blues.
Yeah, so put him in Friday or Saturday. Put him in
Yeah.
both games. And then
How
if he
much
stinks,
Ice Sox games have you guys been watching?
Not a lot.
That's the thing. I've been watching a lot of Hawks games. If I felt confident that we could play him in a game and it wouldn't hurt his confidence, I would. But I generally just don't think he's ready. I think just having him practice is probably better for him at this rate.
Maybe he's gonna look like a fish out of water.
I mean, to be fair, compared to the vets on his team who are garbage, he would be at the very least be an improvement over TJ Brody, Albertines, etc. From that standpoint, yeah, I'm sure getting him a game probably wouldn't hurt just to see where he's at.
I'm
I
not
think
saying
he's
to
been
put him
playing
in
better,
tonight to get spun around in a circle by Connor McDavid, but
That's the team with the Predators. Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's at home too. Are they at home all 3 games the rest
Yes,
of the way?
not Saturday. They are home tonight, and Friday, not Saturday.
So like easy home game, even if it's just one. Like he's been practicing with the NHL team for a week. I don't know when the plan is to send him back down to Rockford. I would assume it's when they break for the Four Nations, and that maybe they even send some of these other guys down for a couple of weeks, like Doc and like Colton Doc doesn't really need a vacation. Landon Slaggert doesn't really need a vacation. Sorry, bud. I know you guys have been playing hard, but go down and play some more AHL games during the break. So maybe it's a bit crazy from me with that take, but like I want to see him in a game, dude. Like it's not like he's like a 5th overall pick. Like this is a top 2 pick you made. Like put him in a hockey game.
Also,
I don't know.
who knows how much more he's gonna like try at the NHL level. Like guys get up for certain games. I think if you throw him in his first National League hockey game against the Predators, I think
at home, and think of what that does to the other guys in the room too.
Yeah, there is stuff to be said for that. Like it could have a positive effect. Like if he has a really solid game, right, doesn't look out of place, good for his confidence. The rest of the season, AHL, like a cook, right?
Exactly.
I could see it. I see your point. I think, I guess I understand from that perspective.
I know.
Right? If they're gonna come up here just for practice, like kind of that's kind of boring. What's the point? Let's have some fun here, right? May as well. Yeah, show some confidence in the guy you picked number 2.
And I think like if one game in the National Hockey League crushes his confidence,
he's not going to be a national
he's not who you thought. He's not that guy.
I would damn hope the Hawks have 120% confidence that this kid is going to be their number 1 defenseman, or else passing up Ivan Demidov makes 0 sense. So yeah, I would damn hope they have that confidence in him. Yeah, I'll just say that.
I'm not saying you need to give him like a 5 or 10 game run here, but like 1, maybe 2 games. Like if he doesn't look like a total mess against the Predators, like give him the game against St. Louis too. It's back to back. You don't really have a lot of time to like think about it too. It's just like go out there, rely on your physical instincts and, play. And you're probably going to lose anyways because it's the Blackhawks and it's the second half of a back to back. And like Lee said, everybody's going to have a mind towards, Tucson or wherever they're going for vacation or, the all-inclusive resort.
Maybe if one of these unks goes down tonight, we'll see him either Friday or Saturday. Yeah.
I will say Tassos.
He's that standpoint by right. Like if there's somebody does get hurt, you have to think they would throw him in, right? Yeah.
But that is kind of a hot take because everybody on Blackhawks Twitter, all these like people like I don't know, they think they're geniuses. They're like, oh, all these people are going to want Levshunov to play, but he needs another year in the AHL. All these like geniuses. It's like, shut up. Let him play a game against the Predators, you losers. It's not going to change the trajectory of his career. Relax.
Could you imagine if it did?
Yeah, Jesus.
No, it wouldn't.
I think you two have moved me. You have swayed me. I think, let's have the Artie party. Because, like, they even said it, like, when the Hawks called him up, their admin was like, oh, it's time for the Artie party. But it's like, he's just practicing. We're talking about practice here. Like, that's not an Artie party. Get him in a fucking game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun here. Like, the season's been miserable. Like, give us something. Just a little taste of what's to come. Yeah.
Before we go to break, I did want to mention actually one more thing. And like, this is a show that, we're not political. You know what I mean? Like I very much believe that like, you can go, if you want politics, you can go to literally any other source of information and people will be talking about it and what's going on. So like, this should just be a nice escape away from that, in my opinion. The only thing I have to say about booing the anthems, I meant to bring this up earlier when we were talking about it, but I want to wrap up the thought here. If, and I don't think, hockey players really care about tariffs and such, but if you didn't think that there was going to be any juice to the Four Nations face-off, that USA-Canada game a week from Saturday better carry some absolute heat in Montreal Saturday night. Like that game better carry some fireworks with it.
That place better be on
Won't
fire.
You fly, free bird? Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, it's not in the U.S., so they won't be able to,
Rah! Oh, I hope they boo the anthem again. The U.S. players take it personally, man. I want to see another U.S. win on Canadian soil. Let's go.
Yeah, Matthew Tkachuk isn't going to take the booing lightly.
No, and even the Team Canada, like that team has been like bashed by a lot of people for a lot of questionable decisions that they've made, and it's like, I don't know, if you don't get up for that game at the Bell Center on a Saturday night when like Canadians all across, like I don't want to, not politics, but like there's been a lot of division politically and just thought wise in how people think about things. But like, man, Canada has been quite united over the past week as far as how much they hate us.
America.
You know?
I think they should probably worry more about their own government over there. That's all I'll say.
I think that if they can't get up for that game, then the NHL has become what the NBA is, you know, where these guys
Honestly, I think this
just
is perfect timing, actually. Maybe that was the thought process from DJ there, so just to get these tariffs in place and, really spice up this Four Nations tournament, which I think I was feeling a little down about. I wasn't really that excited for, no Bedsy, no Canadian, but now it's like, hell yeah, USA, Canada, let's go, baby.
That's going to be a crazy game.
Looking forward to it.
This should be a ton of fun. All right, you guys want to hit a break?
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio, and leave a 5-star rating and review. I like seeing those numbers go up, and up. Also, poll in the Instagram in the Instagram story. Thank you. We put out T-shirt and hat concepts that we mocked up. That's the first poll. We're going to do a second one when we get the mock-ups for the hats and the beanies too. We're just trying to get a gauge like how interested you guys are. Raven put a poll in Discord, but that poll ended, and I know not all of you who watch and listen are in the Discord, but more of you may be following us on Instagram. So hoodies seem like they're going to be kind of a hit, to be honest, from the voting.
CHR merch, absolute cinema. Let's get those in place before the live show. We'll be able to pass some out maybe to some fans.
Yeah. All right. Quick break. On the other side, NHL or Chicago Hockey Radio. Keep it here. the NHL edition of Chicago Hockey Radio. Justin Lynch, Lee Grossman, and Tassos Kirkos. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you stuck around during the break. A few different topics we're going to get into. I know top of his list is Patrick Kane, but I do want to start with the IIHF discussion. Sort of like a nice little bookend from the Four Nations talk into IIHF, because as we all know, the Four Nations is just the appetizer to the Winter Olympics in 2026 in Italy. The IIHF, so Russia and Belarus are currently banned from IIHF competition due to the invasion of Ukraine. I think we all know why. IIHF. So I'm gonna read some stuff here. Well, I mean,
I get the politics of it, but I do think for the players, I feel for them. I don't think that's really in their control. So I'm not a big fan, but I get it.
No, I think we all understand why it is the way it is. Russia. It's very interesting because this is Russia's most popular sport. This is like the sport that they most care about. It's the sport that they produce the most professionals in, and they are an important part of the landscape of international hockey. Belarus, not as much, obviously.
Already left shot. I was gonna take that personally, yeah. But you are right. Like all these tournaments and stuff, the World Juniors, the Worlds, Four Nations, potentially Olympics. Like it's not the same without Russia with hockey. Yeah.
So the IIHF, this is a tweet from Chris Johnston. The IIHF Council has decided not to allow Russia and Belarus back into hockey competitions for the 25-26 season, citing security reasons. While the IOC has jurisdiction over next year's Winter Classic in Milan. Or next year's Winter Olympics. Sorry, I said Winter Classic. It seems very unlikely those countries will be there. There were discussions and thoughts that if Russia was included in the Four Nations, that you obviously wouldn't have the participation from Sweden and Finland. Sweden's Olympic Committee, or at least their hockey federation, came out and said that they would still participate in the Olympics if Russia did. And that's what this means, right? So when the IIHF doesn't have anything to do with the Olympics other than, them and the NHL and the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, they all get together and they discuss things like insurance, right? Like insurance covering the players is a really big topic of discussion. If you guys remember, I think it was 2014 when John Tavares went and represented Team Canada, and then he broke his leg at the Olympics. And then he missed the rest of the Isles season that they were kind of in the mix for a playoff spot. And then without John Tavares, they were not in a playoff spot, right? So insurance was, the reason that they give us, right? Like, I don't think, the last two Olympics, which I think it was a really big miss for the NHL not being in Beijing in 2022. I understand South Korea.
That was the plan, right? But that just didn't fall through, right?
Yeah. It is, but there's so much like larger topics of discussion at play here when it comes to the NHL and the Olympics, right? For the NHL, in negotiations with the Players Union and the Players Association, like the Olympics is a bargaining tool for the NHL. The players want to play. And a lot of the times, like it's the Connor McDavids and the Sidney Crosbys, it's the guys who would be at the Olympics that are normally on the bargaining side of things. Like there are some PA reps that are not Olympic level players, right? But a lot of the times it is the Olympic level guys that are the strong voices for this, and they want to go like, Pat Maroon, it doesn't really matter to him whether or not the NHL goes to the Olympics because he ain't. You
don't think he's on their radar? Yeah.
No, I don't really think so.
I don't know. They could use
use a veteran presence, 13th forward.
It's a bargaining chip, right? It's something for the NHL to hold over the players to get concessions that they want in other areas. Before it was escrow and different kinds of things, expansion, these kinds of topics, right? So, it's tough, right? And I like I said, I really think it was a missed opportunity. I know the NHL felt like there was no benefit for them going to the last two Olympics too. Like, hey, why are we going to risk sending our players over to South Korea when, South Korea probably is what it is when it comes to hockey. And South Korea is like, I don't know where they rank currently in the IIHF. I could do a little research, but I think they're like a top 25 hockey country right now. Same with China too. I just think like China was such a missed one for the NHL, just because
that was more to do with like the COVID stuff, right? Wasn't like if they got it while they're like they'd be missing a ton of
but
time.
that's what
or
they
something.
said. That's what they said.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that's what
Yeah.
they say.
It's like politics. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So, the IIHF, they don't really have a say whether Russia competes in the Olympics or not. That's an IOC decision. There was the whole Russian doping scandal at the Olympics in 2014 when the Olympics were in Sochi. So the previous two Olympics, like Russia participated in the Olympics, but they didn't wear their flag, and they were the Olympic athletes from Russia. They weren't Russia. You know what I mean? So I don't know what this. So what the IIHF decision basically means is they won't play in the World Juniors and they won't play at the World Championships, because that's really all the IIHF controls, right?
Olympics is TBD.
Yeah, Olympics is still TBD. I think we all personally are on the same page that international hockey is better when you have Russia in the mix.
Dude, yeah.
That's a superpower. Top 5 superpower, probably the third best hockey nation. Like, it doesn't really, it still means a lot winning these World Juniors and World Championship golds, but it's not the same when one of the biggest, participants isn't there, right?
That's my perspective on it is like, I'm not even going to say I feel bad for the players, because I don't, because of the cheating stuff, and like, it's literally just about none of this means anything without Russia there. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Like, foreign nations, what? Like the third best team isn't there? Don't care. And the Olympics, dude, if you don't have Russia, it's like there's an asterisk if you win. It's like, yeah, you won, but you didn't have to play Russia. Like, you're not facing Kaprizov, you're not facing Kucherov, Vasilevsky. Like, come on. Like,
Alex Ovechkin's going to break the goal record, and he can't even represent his country in the
Russia.
It's not right.
I don't even give a shit again about representing the country. You can come in you can have all Russian teams under a team that's called the car team. They can have a random logo. I don't give a shit. They just have to be there, because it just like, I don't care about it as much from an American perspective. Like, I want to win the gold medal with all the best teams.
Want to beat the best. No asterisk.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you first.
Oh yeah, basically I was just going to say the same thing. Like, without Russia there, I feel like any win does come with some question mark, some asterisk. That's all I was going to say. Yeah.
So I mentioned it's the World Juniors and the World Championships. It's also the Women's World Championships and the under 18s as well for both the men and the women. The Hockey Federation of Russia will be able to challenge the decision at the next congressional meeting, which happens at the World Championships, which this year is in Sweden and Denmark. So they will meet there. Like I said, and we've said this, like the decision about the Olympics is all up to the IOC. Like, this has nothing to do with that. But then, then we're talking about them not being in for speed skating and figure skating and skiing, and you know what I mean? You're banning the whole country. It's not just the hockey tournament
Russians
here.
love skiing over there. They love hitting the slopes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think we might have some listeners in Russia. I don't know if we do or not, but I don't know. I will read Pavel Bure's statement. It's a little long, so bear with me here, but I just think it's important for context. For 3 years, our federation and I personally worked actively with the IIHF and their entire hockey family so that the Russian national team could return to the international arena. During this time, we have achieved that our partners finally hear our position. At the last meeting, I personally spoke 3 times. Before that, we were not allowed to voice our position at all or even attend the meeting. One of the IIHF's argument to prevent our team from allowing was the safety of the participants. In our opinion, this argument is not strong enough. More than 50 Russians perform in the NHL. Russian swimmers, chess players, representatives of other sports participate in international competitions, and there are no incidents on them. One of our proposals was to finance the additional security of the Russian team, only so that the hockey fans around the world would again see one of the strongest national teams on the planet. Whatever decision is made now, the IIHF will have to allow our team in any case, since without Russia, the level of the World Championships is much lower. We will challenge this decision in court, and in any case, we will get our way. I note that the decision on the participation of the Russian national team at the 2026 Olympics in Milan will be made by the IOC. So, statement from Pavel Bure, just, the federation, and it's really interesting too, like the the federation, or I guess like the KHL broke off from the federation or something like that, or the federation broke away from somebody. So, I mean, it's like the Wild West over there when it comes to how this is going to be sorted out. But I don't know.
The Russians will call Saul and he'll get them back in it.
Yeah. I mean, it's hockey. It's important for us to discuss. You know, Belarus too is like a top, you know, I would say they're a top 20 hockey country on any given day.
Already Levshunov, best Belarus hockey player of all time.
He could be by the time it's all said and done. If
I hope so. I mean, he better be if we're putting on the line here.
Yeah. So I just figured we'd start with that just because it is, you know, kind of an interesting discussion and, you know, something to monitor going forward. Like it is Russia, it is hockey. Like hockey is better with Russia, and international hockey is better with Russia. You know, you're excluding, you know, they could field a whole team of NHL players. Like they don't need to pull from the KHL. Like, you know, if you had Team Germany in there, like, yeah. And even I think like the Four Nations, you know, they want to, and I think we're going to get an answer on this at the Four Nations as far as what the next plans for a World Cup of hockey looks like. It sounds like
we need more nations, right? We need the Czechnias, the Slovakias, and the Germanys, and all
the Czechnias.
Czechnia.
The Czechnias.
Every single time, damn it, the Czechs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Czechia.
Czechia.
But you know, like if you're fielding, like, and I think Germany should be in a World Cup, right? I think Slovakia could be in a World Cup. I think Czechia should be in a World Cup. I think Switzerland, you know,
Latvia.
Oh yeah,
Belarus.
Belarus. Well, yeah. You know, more or less. You know, maybe not Belarus, but you know, but what I'm saying here is like for Slovakia, like half the team would probably be NHLers and half the team would probably be non-NHLers, right? With
the
Russia,
Czechs could ice a full NHL team. Russia too, man.
Yeah, Czechia could. I don't know. Are there 20?
They can't. Defensively, Natchez was saying that on the Spit and Chicklets pod that they couldn't be in the Four Nations because they couldn't have a full NHL roster.
Yeah. I just think like Russia can ice a full roster, you know what I mean, of NHL talent.
They could ice 2 rosters.
I don't know. I think they have, what did that statement I just read say? They have like 30 guys. You know, that's not 2 rosters worth.
No, look at what that 4-core goaltending could look like. You could argue they'd be the best team there. I mean, I think US and Canada have more depth, especially on the D-core, but man, they're definitely missing out there.
They do always kind of choke though in international competition. You know, at least the modern version.
The non-Soviet communist version of them.
Yeah. All right, so that was that discussion. I don't know.
I feel like Austin Matthews right now. Like we're like, we don't like talking about politics on this show, but we can't be forced to talk about politics the last half hour.
I mean, it's just
segueing that the Florida Panthers.
The Florida Panthers at the White House.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Let's get some more politics talk in there. Yeah.
Yeah, they went to the White House. Good for them. Congrats. They won the Stanley Cup. Good for them. Look cool.
Speaking of America, the greatest American-born hockey player of all time, Patrick Kane. What a disgusting, filthy shootout goal he had against Seattle last night. That was ridiculous. The backhand, top cheese, bar down. He passes Jonathan Toews. That's right, Jonathan Toews for the most shootout goals in NHL history of 53. Love to see that. That's 7 wins in a row for the Wings. Yeah, I mean, every time I start to write them off, they take it personally over there. Under McClellan, I think they had the best record the 2025 portion of this season in NHL. So there you go. And Showtime, beautiful vintage backhand. I haven't seen that in a while. Just beautiful to see. Happy for him. Yeah.
I'm trying to see who else is on this list.
I think it's like Crosby's up there.
Like TJ Oshie, Franz Nielsen.
Franz Nielsen is number 3.
He was disgusting in the shootout. Yeah.
Tied with TJ Oshie, who I don't
Datsuk's
know.
got to be up there. Yeah.
Pavel Datsuk is 11th all time.
Really?
He had nifty moves, but it was like Toews didn't have the nifty. He literally would just shoot. He would just go 5-hole every single time.
Yeah.
He would just rip it 5-hole, and it was that area under like the stick and the pad. I don't know what that goal. I saw like a breakdown of it on Instagram the other day. I don't know what that goalie formation's called or stances, but
yeah.
He would just rip it there every time. So obviously not as flashy as Datsuk, but way more efficient. I think Toews is probably the most efficient.
Oh yeah, his percentage is still higher. He still has. I think Kane's like 40%. I want to say Toews was almost 50.
Yeah,
not quite, but it was close.
47.27%.
That's insane. So yeah, like everybody always talked about with the Hawks, like that Kane was a guy to the shootout, but really it was Taves.
It was Taves.
When you have two of the best shootout producers of all time, pretty much any time those Hawks teams were in the shootout, you already knew the result.
It was electric.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Yeah.
So here's the top 10 shootout goals all time: Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Franz Nielsen, and TJ Oshie. Joe Pavelski's in the 5 spot. Sidney Crosby is 6th. Number 7th, blast from the past, and former Chicago Blackhawk. Do any of you guys know who it is?
Oh,
how long
give me
ago?
a hint.
Like what era?
I don't know, dude.
It's ever since 2005.
I'll give you the other teams he played for.
Was it within my? Was it
Yes.
when I was watching
Yes.
hockey? Okay.
Carolina, Phoenix, Tampa Bay, Vancouver, Arizona, Florida.
Antoine Vermette?
Nope.
Oh.
Oh, damn it! I'm having a name block. You have to give it away.
Radim Verbata.
Oh.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me neither.
Number
Is UC Jokin on there? Didn't he start his career with like 9 consecutive shootout goals made or something? Yeah.
Number 8 is Zach Parise to finish out the top 10. 8 is Zach Parise.
Okay.
Number 9 is Anze Kopitar. Number 10 is Mikko Koivu, and I said Datsuk was 11.
Okay. Yeah.
Other active players on this list: Matt Zuccarello is 13. UC Okinen is 14 on the list.
Okay. Yeah.
He's in between Matt Zuccarello and Alexander Ovechkin. But a player with a bit higher of a percentage than Jonathan Toews, who has a chance, I think, to be the all-time leader when it's all said and done, Sasha Barkov.
Ooh.
Currently
I was
18th.
I was just going to ask that question. Like, do you think the shootout record for Kane ever falls? Because we're seeing less and less shootouts now with the 3-on-3. It feels like the NHL is trying to kind of phase them out a little bit. I'm sure there'll always be around, but like
how many?
We're not seeing as many now.
How many does Barkov have?
32. So
Yeah,
he's
dude.
21 behind Kane.
Kane's still going to improve that a little bit.
It's
you would
so
think.
much more
Yeah.
rare now. It's so much more rare now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Barkov could do it. I think Barkov could be the guy that, because he's like pretty much automatic. Like even on a breakaway, like non-shootout, like just regular 60-minute hockey breakaway, like Barkov is probably one of the best breakaway players in the NHL right now.
Sorry, what'd you say his
but you might
percentage
only
was
get
in the shootout?
His percentage is 47.76.
Okay, so around the same as Taves. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool if Kane Taves ended as the 1-2 there for the shootouts. That'd be pretty nice. Yeah.
You might only get 5 opportunities a year.
Yeah, I
from
think
Barkov's perspective. Mm-hmm. So if he's only getting 2 or 3 a season, I don't know if he's going to pass those guys.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
I think it's fun. All right. A little bit more, or let's do Ryan Hartman first. So we kind of talked about, and then we honestly like kind of didn't talk about the Tage Thompson stuff at all on Monday too, and we probably should have.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a lot going on Monday, but so Ryan Hartman, we did talk about the Tim Stützle, banging his head on the ice right off the face-off. Got a game misconduct for attempt to injure.
10 games, right?
10 games. 10 games, Saucy. I texted you guys right as soon as I saw it.
Yeah. When was the last time you see suspension that long? It's been a while.
I don't know. I could
Gotta
do
be
a little
up there,
digging.
right?
Yeah.
I think the longest is like when Rafi Torres at 41. Is that the longest suspension of all time? It's got to be up there, yeah. But Hartman, I think, just based off the play, it wasn't a hockey play. It was dangerous. I mean, lucky Stützle didn't get a concussion or something from that. He definitely could have wound up worse. So I'd say it was probably warranted there. Did you see, too, there's an NHL discussion posted Insta where it was like, they always do like this like poll where it's like suspend him or not. And Ryan Hartman actually voted in that poll. I thought it was kind of funny. Did you see that, Lee? I see you shaking your head.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think he's going to like? There's no defense for that. I mean, I'm sure he voted, obviously no.
No.
But,
Yeah, I think that's the lightest sentence for attempted murder I've ever seen.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think we critiqued it enough on Monday. Like, it was watching, the more I watch it, like the worse it gets. It's like 10 games, honestly, may have gotten off a little light, like you said. Yeah.
Dude, he tried to slam a dude's his face straight into ice. It's like,
yeah, no, there's really no defense for that. It definitely, I'm not sure what he was thinking. I don't think he was thinking there. I think just when you get blown out of a game, sometimes you lose it. Yeah.
So it's the longest suspension in 6 years. That's all I can find. The suspension is the longest levied by the NHL this season. The first ban of at least 10 games for an on-ice infraction since Tom Wilson was given 20 games for an illegal check to the head in 2016.
Was that Sundqvist? Who was? Yeah.
Something like that.
I remember that.
Wilson had his suspension decreased by to 14 games by an arbitrator after he had already served 16. So basically what that means is like you're going to get the money back that you were supposed to make.
Okay.
It is also the longest suspension in Minnesota Wild franchise history, and he will
Made
forfeit.
history. There you go.
Yeah, he will forfeit about $500,000 for that.
Woof.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. How about a little more?
yeah.
Probably won't do it again, you'd assume.
Yeah, you'd hope he'd learn his lesson there. A shame to see that for sure.
Do we want to talk about this Buffalo Sabres Tage Thompson thing?
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So he gets drilled by Nason on the Devils, and nobody on the Sabres even acted like it happened. They were just like skating around, they didn't even go over to him. They were kind of just like standing around looking awkward. And then they had some team meeting to discuss it. And so 2 days later, they dropped the gloves with Olivier on Columbus last night.
Yeah, Dennis Gilbert dropped the gloves with Matthew Olivier.
And he got fed his lunch, too.
Yeah, I mean, the Sabres don't have anybody that's going to be able to, like,
hang with that guy.
Yeah.
Well, I think this just goes back to the point that we brought up a ton of times in the show. It's like they clearly have a culture problem there in Buffalo. Like that should be, all hands on deck, no questions asked. There's got to be repercussions. It's like, okay, you answer the next game. It's already too late at that point. You should have answered the moment that hit happened, right? And they didn't. Nobody seemed to care. It's like anytime that on the Hawks, anytime somebody touches Benji, somebody's on him right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for most games, that's the case. When your star player is targeted, there's going to be a response, and the fact there wasn't, it just goes to show it's a lot more than just roster personnel there. Right? Buffalo has a lot of work to do there to fix their problems because that just can't happen. There's no excuse for that.
I'm watching this hit again.
It's crazy.
Like he's
tried to take his head off.
Yeah, and he's like on the ice, and
no one does anything.
I was in a response to that. That's disgusting, man. And think about it from Tage Thompson's perspective too. Like you got to think he lose a lot of respect for his line mates, and teammates for that as well. Like if he was in the opposite position, you're sure he would have stepped up. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're Matthias Samuelsson on the Sabres right there, like you got to grab somebody and just
even if you've got even if you didn't see what happened, even if you don't know who hit him, you got to grab someone, even if you get the wrong guy.
That's your best player.
Yeah, it's your best player by a mile.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And he's down in a heap with his helmet off, barely moving. He looks half dead. And you're just standing around chit-chatting with these guys? I would lose my mind if I was a Buffalo Sabres fan.
That's some nasty work by Stefan Nason, too.
Yeah. It's like elbow was up in the air, too.
Does he not have a hearing for that at all or nothing?
I don't know.
You would think. I mean, you think that would be a suspension as well. Not 10 games, but you think that would be, get some sort of like. There's no way he doesn't, face some repercussions there. But I don't know. This is player safety we're talking about. They're not always consistent. In fact, most times they're not consistent. They're like inconsistent all the time. Yeah.
Nothing.
That's insane. How does he get away with that?
I don't know.
And in both ways, yeah.
Yeah, from the league and from the players.
Yeah, I just don't understand that. Like that would have been unthinkable back in the day too. Like, just to think, like you always step up for your stars. That's just there's no question that. It's hockey. It's a self-policing game, right? Like if the refs aren't going to do it, then you do. Yeah.
Buffalo's just so soft, dude. Like that whole lineup.
Yeah, I guess the argument for no suspension here is like Thompson had his head down and it's closer to the ice and the elbow doesn't really come up until like after the hit's delivered. It's not like he's chicken wings it up like right before he makes contact. I don't know, dude. This is absurd though. Just the lack of response to me is pretty sad, like, and like I said, you don't need to have tough guys on the roster to be able to do something like that. Mm-hmm. But that's the difference between having veterans on your team and having a roster full of kids out there. Like I'm trying to see who else is on the ice during this. Matthias Samuelsson is probably, Jason Zucker's out there, but he's kind of like a small guy, like
just
I don't
grab someone though. You don't have to drop the gloves. You don't have to fight someone.
Anybody can just step up for your team.
You can get into a little wrestling match like we've seen all the time. Like Bertuzzi does it a lot, where like he won't fight anybody, but he goes right away and puts somebody in a chokehold. You gotta have
anybody
some
can do that.
Response.
I don't know who number 20 is on the Buffalo Sabres, but I don't know, dude. This is absurd. All right, so, the Hartman thing, I think it's fair, though. Like, I think 10 games is probably like the line even. Like you probably could have gotten even if they gave him 12 or 14 games, I wouldn't have really thought I would have been like, all right, like that's probably fair, right?
Yeah.
So I just, you can't do that. Like, and at least, I don't think that injuries should play a part in suspension decisions in the NHL like they do sometimes. But I think the fact
that did feel like intent to injure. Yeah.
Yuri Kulik.
That's number 20 on the Sabres. Yeah, I mean, like, he's a kid, too. So, like, what do he's not, I don't expect him to do anything. And frankly, he was the only guy, like, that went over to Tage and, like, was like, hey, man, you all right?
Yeah, like, at least checked on him. I felt like nobody else was really doing that. Not just that. Like, in terms of responding, but also making sure your guy's all right. Yeah.
I don't think that this is like a veteran versus young player thing. I think this is either having cojones or not. Like, you gotta, like, just because you're young doesn't mean you can't stick up for your boys. Like,
I feel like that's like the Sabres is like that Tiger meme with the text, like he realized he's not built for this. Like that's the Buffalo Sabres team for you. It's like that whole team just doesn't feel like it's just not an NHL club. I mean, they're just, I don't know. There's larger issues at play there, man, on and off the ice.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Hertman definitely deserved the 10 games. At least Stützle is playing again. Like he's played both Senators games that they've had since then. So I think they had a back-to-back Monday, Tuesday. So
they're playing some pretty damn good hockey over there.
Yeah. Last night, dude. So they lost last night to the Lightning, and 4-3 was the final. The worst way to end a hockey game, in my opinion, is when the game-winning goal is the empty net goal. Like, I cannot, for some reason, I can't stand it. Like, I hate it. The score's 3-2 Bolts. They hit the empty net, make it 4-2. Drake Batherson scores with like a minute and a half left. And to me, that's like either like a coaching issue or you didn't play hard enough once the goalie was out there kind of issue. I don't know. Like that's the worst way.
It's just not satisfying. It's a anticlimactic way to conclude a game.
Like to me, that's a tie that the Lightning won. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just that's not a win for the Lightning. And then the announcer at the end of the game was like, "Great win for the Bolts! Like what a great win by John Cooper and the Bolts." And I'm like, it was a tie game. Like it was legitimately a tie game. You got a freebie. You didn't work extra hard for that empty netter. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the risk sometimes. Doesn't always pan out, right? Yeah.
Did you guys see the Utah game last night? That was a hockey game. That was a really good game. Freaking Dylan Guenther comes back from injury. Mikhail Sergachev comes back from injury. Guenther sets up Sergachev for the goal, and then Guenther scores with like 0.2 seconds left in overtime. That was electric.
And that
he's so good.
That building, I tweeted it. I was like, this place is on its feet. That place was on fire. It was
the atmosphere of those Utah games. It must be said, like, yeah, it's their first season, but like it's had like playoff atmosphere for a lot of these games.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's been a pretty good first season for them. Like not just like on the ice talking like the business of a team. It feels like so far so good. It's working out pretty good there. Yeah.
There were some decent. The St. Louis Oilers game last night in St. Louis had like a packed crowd. Maybe that's the McDavid effect, but that place was on fire too.
Dude, did you see that one assist that McDavid had in that game? That was unreal. The plays he makes. Oh, that was disgusting.
Yeah, he did a sick overtime assist to Connor Brown. That was
was the one I was referring to. Yeah, the Connor connection there. Best Connor and the Oilers at McDavid.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to like access this Athletic article because I've seen some of the stuff, but like, come on, like, just give me the article, please.
Do you need a filibuster?
No, I don't. Why? Do you have something, Raven?
I do. I searched up because someone asked about the longest NHL suspensions, and I was curious.
Oh, sure. Yeah. What do you got?
There's 2 incidents where players were banned for life. You have 1927 with Billy Kotu.
He probably tried to kill someone.
He assaulted the ref.
Yep, I was right.
And then you have the Boston Bruins, Don Gallagher, Billy Taylor, and Babe Pratt, all for gambling.
Babe Pratt. No, that sounds like a 1920s name to me.
Hey,
and then,
babe.
The last indefinite one or life one is Slava Voinov from 2014.
Yeah.
That was a whole different situation.
About that one, but the longest one I've seen for an actual number is tied for 41 games with Rafi Torres and Shane Pinto.
That's right. That's right. The gambling with Pinto was 41 as well. Yeah, there you go.
But that was an off-ice issue. You know, the Rafi Torres one was an on-ice issue. Yeah.
And it's not just that. He had plenty of instances. I was I always think back to the 2012 series that I feel like they kind of won that series because of that cheap shot and host could have gone differently. So he just wasn't an NHL player there. Speaking of assaulting the refs, remember?
Hold up.
I was just going to bring up Dennis Weidman.
I did not know Shane Pinto got sussied for gambling.
Yeah, his butt. You really?
Yeah, half the season. But you didn't know that? Were you living under a rock last year?
Yeah, I don't know. I was not familiar with your game, Shane Pinto. Yeah,
so if Lee Gross was a hockey player, it'd be Shane Pinto. Lee would be betting on himself there. Yeah. He'd be getting all the props in the locker.
What was he betting on? Was he betting on himself?
His friend was betting through his betting account.
Oh, that's so dumb, dude.
And half the season for that? Like, that's a little, I don't know. Especially when you got gambling ads on your helmets and stuff in the rink. It feels a little hypocritical there from the NHL.
Yeah, it's becoming so tied into the game that, like,
you're getting all these patches. The Hawks have the Circa patch. That's a gambling company there. It's like, I don't know, if you're going to advertise this shit all the time, like, and then, you know, the players, I don't know. It seems a little hypocritical.
There was a soccer player suspended last year in the Premier League for, like, a large set of games for gambling. And he came out and said that he was gambling on himself. He was betting on himself to score first. I have no problem with that.
Fair enough. I respect. Yeah, that's. I think that gives extra motivation to perform, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I would love for my players to be betting on themselves.
No, stop, dude.
Yep.
Stop.
Yep.
Like figuratively or literally.
No.
Lee would be literally. Yeah.
Nope.
All right,
if Bedard got suspended for 20 games because he was betting on himself to score first tonight, I would be so happy.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes,
dude.
I would.
This is such a like. I don't
That's
know,
dog mentality. You don't get it. You don't understand.
Yeah, this
dog mentality.
That's dog mentality. Dog certified.
Also, one more fun
one.
Ridiculous. Todd Bertuzzi, 33 games in 2004.
That was the more one, right? When
the
sucker
that's
punch.
super fun, I would say. But
it's more fun to this show because of Bertuzzi.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, Todd Bertuzzi. He is the father of Tyler, right?
No, uncle.
No, not the uncle. Sorry, that's what. Yeah, right.
Uncle.
Oh,
yeah. I knew there was a relation there. Yeah, yeah.
Shout out Holt too. So we will. So not only will we have the live show at Midwest Coast Brewing March the 5th, but 3 days prior, we will be the five of us, really, the three of us, Raven and head of business Tim Tebow, will all be in Kalamazoo, Michigan for the K-Wings game. Raven, can you look up who they play that day? I probably should know that while I'm talking about it.
Be nice. Probably not playing Indy Fuel, but it'd be funny if they were.
Yeah, that would be pretty fun. I mean, it's the ECHL. There's like a
I
1
think
in
Holt
10 chance.
Could probably tell us who they're playing that day, but
yeah, our ECHL correspondent there. Looking forward to that. Some
Cincinnati Cyclones, maybe.
I mean, it would be cool if it were the Cyclones because former Alithio Network podcaster Rudy Hodgson is the play-by-play guy. Oh, it's the Fort Wayne Comets, and it's a big rivalry game. I don't know if you guys remember our interview with Sean McMorrow, but he was talking about like some of the better fighters in the game, and he mentioned Daniel Diamond Hands Amesbury. He's on the Fort Wayne Comets. So
I'd love to hear the story behind that nickname. How would he get that?
I think I could take a gander.
Yeah, probably.
I would assume his fists feel like diamonds, rocks to the face. So that'll be a ton of fun. Shout out Holt for hooking up with those tickets. He's also going to give us a tour of the arena before the game, personal tour from Holt. So that'll be fun.
There we go.
Yeah, that'll
Kalamazoo Wings. That'll be nice little road trip there.
Yeah. A little road trip. We're gonna have to get up early in the morning.
Cinema.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys are in the area, or even if you guys are like not in the, I don't know, like go to the K-Wings game. Come say what's up. We're gonna get. It'll be ECHL, so we're gonna get like nitty gritty. You know, that'll be a nice dirty day.
Yeah, I mean that hockey is very dirty hockey, man. Like those games get pretty intense with the brawls, etc. Right? It's a whole different game, a whole different league. Yeah, but it's still good. It's still good hockey, though, man. It's like the third best in terms of North America, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who's on the roster for the Kalamazoo Wings.
I'm gonna make a wild guess that the Kalamazoo Wings are the ECHL affiliate of the Detroit Red Wings.
Nope.
Just like they're not
the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh. Well, why? I just assumed because it's Michigan and it's the Wings. Never mind.
They have two Vancouver Canucks draft picks on the team: Josh Bloom and Ty Young.
I could tell you so much about them. Yeah, no, I just learned who they are now. Yeah, that's cool.
And I don't know who the Fort Wayne Comets are. Oh, I think the Comets are. I don't know who they're the ECHL affiliate.
Fort Wayne Comets. I feel like I should know that.
The Edmonton Oilers.
Holt said Diamond Hands had an electric fight against Kalamazoo last year.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a There we go.
A Vancouver Canucks Edmonton Oilers ECHL affiliate matchup. That'll be a ton of fun.
Wow. Okay. This will be something.
They have one Oilers affiliated player on it, goaltender Connor Unger, too. Okay.
There we go.
I
All
am
right.
pretty hungry.
Who's the favorite in that matchup? What are the records looking like here?
I don't know, dude. You're asking way too much of me now. I don't know.
Okay. My bad.
Wait. Will I be able to bet on this game? Is the only question I have.
ECHL betting. That's got to be deranged, man. But Lee Grossman will find a way to bet on that.
What are the advanced analytics looking like heading into this matchup?
I
No,
throw
don't know.
50 on the K-Wings.
What's the money puck odds looking like?
Yeah, I don't know. Holt says, please don't check the records.
Don't. Oh, are they not good? It's like,
I don't know.
it's like the worst ECHL teams are tanking over there for the top ECHL pick there.
Like all this information we're getting makes it sound more and more fun.
Yeah, like I'm getting pretty juiced up for this now. I'm
Like
getting
I kind
formed
of
up for this
I kind of
ECHL
hope
game.
they're horrible. And it's just like that'll be awesome.
We're the
That'd
highlight
be
of the
so
game.
fun.
Yeah, that'll be some amazing content.
Put us out there, may as well. We're on standby. Like they talk about emergency backup goalies. Let's get some emergency backup players out there. You know, if they need them.
We're gonna do a whole vlog from that entire trip.
Yeah, that'll be
That'd
fun.
be
I'm gonna
fun.
have to
And that's
request
a-
off that like whole week.
And
Yeah.
that's the same break that we're also doing the viewing game, right? The
Yeah,
March
it's
5th.
4 days before.
Yeah.
3 days before.
That's gonna be a fun spring break, dude. Holy,
And it's
holy
the day
jumping,
after
as
Lee's
Darren
birthday.
Pink would say. Oh, there you go. Yeah, mine's February 17th too. So yeah, we'll all be celebrating a late birthday. Yeah.
We go back to my place in the burbs the day before. Stay at my house. Take the minivan. Could be fun.
Or you could bring the minivan here. I don't want to stay at your house.
I don't know if I want to drive to pick you. I'm not your chauffeur.
Oh my god. dude.
I wonder what's going on. Lee Grosman's basement.
We're not all
Jeez.
sleeping in the house that has the Patrick Kane bathroom picture.
I want to see that. I need to get a.
Yeah,
never mind.
you-
Actually, I was gonna make a joke. Never mind.
Yeah, you're gonna say Justin is itching to use that toilet. So
Yeah, I mean that's I gotta get a Bedard version of that. Okay, never mind.
Okay. All right.
this is normally where we talk about ending the show. Here.
Yeah. Okay. Should we do this NHL player poll talk?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's end with
There's some pretty funny quotes from that. Like there's this one. Let me find it. Like an anonymous quote on Gary Bettman about his retirement that could be coming. Somebody said in regards to Bettman, quote, "I don't even know what that fucking guy does."
Yeah. No, I saw that one. Justin, do you have the poll in front of you?
Oh no, I
pull it
don't.
up.
Sorry.
Okay, good.
Okay,
Don't pull it
yeah.
up. I want to play a little guessing game with you and Lee.
Oh sure. Okay.
I'm
this will be fun.
bad at guessing.
All right. All right. Here we go.
Okay. First question on the NHL player poll from The Athletic. If you have a no trade list, what's the first team on
Winnipeg.
it? Oh, yeah, you were way too quick to that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna.
That was right.
in
Yes.
the comments of our.
There's another
Instagram
funny
reel.
quote about that. Let me pull up that quote as well. It's pretty funny. Give me 1 second here. Okay, I got it. Wait, no, I got it. There's not much to do out there. It's fucking cold. I haven't heard a guy go to Winnipeg and be like, "This is going to be my forever home."
Yeah. Out of 82 responses, Winnipeg garnered 48.78 of the responses.
Holy
So
crap.
I assume that's 40 out of 82 players.
Yeah.
39
Okay,
40.
who's second? Just out of curiosity.
The Buffalo Sabres.
I was
there you go,
arguing with
yeah.
some kid. You saw me. You kind of
Yeah, I
clapped
stood
back a
up.
little
Yeah,
bit.
I
Yeah,
did.
you said.
I
You
love
stood up.
Buffalo.
Yeah, but you can love Buffalo, but that doesn't mean that like you wouldn't rather be in Dallas or Chicago or Los Angeles.
Oh, the Hawks
or
weren't even like
Vancouver
they were like
or
a very
fucking
small portion of
Ohio
that, right?
or like,
yeah.
I would rather be in Buffalo than Columbus.
I know.
I
Maybe.
would much rather be in Buffalo. That's not even a question.
I don't know,
That-
but
yeah.
like there are places in Ohio that like Cleveland's awesome. I've heard so.
Oh
But
yeah,
the-
Cleveland's great.
It's
Love
not
it
the
in Cleveland.
Cleveland Blue Jackets.
It's like
Yeah,
a mini
but-
Chicago over here. Yeah.
I think that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said about Cleveland.
Buffalo
Justin.
is still-
It gets a
Buffalo
bad
is
rap,
still,
man.
like,
Cleveland's
the
a nice
bottom.
city. Yeah.
All right. Next, what coach would you most like to play for other than your own?
Most like to play for.
Yes.
Coop.
Coop is the correct answer. You got to get better at this, Lee.
Dude.
I swear I've not looked at this.
Yes, you did, Justin.
No,
You're
I have
such
not.
a
I
fucking
swear to
capper.
God. I just saw the quotes. That's all. I haven't seen anything else. I'm just making educated guesses out here. I'm not even looking at anything. I'm
All
looking
right,
right
next
at the camera.
question.
No. Hold on. I'll give you the top 5 answers. 108 responses. John Cooper got 23.5% of the votes. Number 2 was Paul Maurice. Number 3, Rod Brindamore. Number 4, Craig Berube. And number 5, Jim Montgomery.
No Anders Sorensen's in there. I'm just kidding.
No.
Most of these players probably don't know who he is.
But do you know who received 0.94% of the vote?
Oh God, who?
Torts.
No.
I couldn't even guess.
Anders Sorensen was given 1 vote,
Who the hell is gonna...
William Nylander.
as was Jeremy Colleton, as was
Jeremy
Joel
Colleton.
Quenneville was also
Well,
given a vote.
Quenneville
too.
surprised me. At least he's got the credentials, right? But who the hell is voting for Jeremy Colleton?
Probably a former Blackhawk that liked him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
This
a
one's
high
probably an easy one.
Oh.
What coach would you
Worst-
least like to play for?
Tortorella.
There you go. Lee got that
Yeah,
one.
I cooked you.
I'm pretty sure I said it at the same time. I don't know if it goes through with the microphones and the Zoom stuff.
I'm taking that one. Thank you.
All right, whatever. Fine. 2-1 me.
38% of the 93 votes that were taken for that one. Number 2 on that list, Bruce
Jeez.
Cassidy. Number 3, Mike Babcock. And
How is he even
He's
still
back
in there? He's not even
catching
coaching
strays.
anymore.
number 4 is Greg Cronin. And number 5 is Lindy Ruff on that team.
Okay.
6 is Patrick Waugh. I don't know. I know I said I'd only do top 5, but all right. What NHL team has the best facilities for opposing teams?
Seattle.
Detroit.
Detroit.
Fuck. I knew that arena was nice too.
Seattle is number 2.
Oh.
Number 3, the
Dick
Edmonton Oilers.
Coakley.
Number 3, the Edmonton Oilers. Number 4, the Vegas Golden Knights. And number 5, the New York Islanders.
It's gonna be all the new arenas. Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. Yeah.
And number 6, surprisingly, the Utah Hockey Club.
Really? It's more of an NBA. Okay, sure.
I think that might be why
It's probably
really nice.
It's probably recency bias.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
What NHL team has the worst facilities? 105 responses.
What's the oldest? Calgary.
No.
MSG?
Nope.
Ooh,
Calgary was number 2 on this list.
Winnipeg?
Damn it!
No.
It's got to be all the old arenas. What more old arenas?
And
Not-
this one has the biggest majority of votes so far. Out of
Tampa?
105 responses, 65.71% of the votes went to this organization.
60. Well, how am I not thinking of this? And I would have said if Arizona was still around, it would have been Mold Arena, but obviously not.
Shithole.
Can I guess New Jersey?
It is
I
not
can't
New
even-
Jersey.
I have no idea. I secede.
The Carolina Hurricanes.
Wow, I would
Really?
not have guessed that.
I would never have guessed that. No. Huh.
They probably just have like a secondary locker room that's just like garbage.
Here are some quotes. It used to be Carolina, but then they upgraded, and somehow it's still Carolina.
The upgrade somehow was more of a downgrade. Jeez. That's funny.
Somebody said terrible. Carolina stinks. It's brutal. It sucks. Everything about that trip sucks. Not even close.
That's awesome for Carolina though.
One Hurricanes player said probably
Might be a
ours.
strategy, right? Yeah. I mean, if your opposing team's uncomfortable, there you go, right? Pissed off.
Oh well, then I guess maybe if Carolina's home locker room is also bad, that's not really giving you an edge. But if everyone dreads going there, that's nice.
I would assume then they probably have one of the nicest locker rooms if the away one sucks.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you like the idea of an in-season tournament like the NBA's?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
Hate it. What's the point of the regular season? Like
Yeah.
we play for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, it takes away from the playoffs and the regular season.
Yeah, no play-in. I have to think most of them would say no, right?
Yeah, I don't want a Mickey.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey
Mouse.
tournament.
No
Cup.
Mickey Mouse play-in tournaments. Not utter woke nonsense.
54.55% said no, and 45.45%.
It's closer than I thought, though.
I
That's
guess
way
it's kind of
closer.
cool
than I
from
thought.
like their perspective. If like they want more stuff to play, like I don't hate that.
More games.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
More teams and more of an opportunity. There are some pros to it.
Some NHL players found it, quote, gimmicky and corny.
Yeah. Entertainment. Yeah.
One guy says, I haven't looked if it drives revenues, but if it does, I wouldn't be against it. I don't see any harm in it. I think it's good. Extra revenue gets more fans involved in the game, more rivalries, lots of higher stakes games in the middle of the season. But yeah, there's some other guys just don't really get it.
We've played these games before. Let's not bring back these COVID bubble matchups. Hell no.
Okay, and a nice, interesting segue. Is the season too long? Yes or no? What do you think?
No.
Which way NHL players?
I think it's the right amount. I'd say more of them would say no.
But which one? Yeah. Okay.
I think they're gonna say no.
Yeah, they both said no. 58.33% said no, and 41% said yes. The season is too long. So
This was
Still
anonymous,
64.
right?
Pretty close.
Yeah, that's why. If it wasn't,
Yeah.
they would all be saying no.
should Gary Bettman retire? 77 responses.
Yes. I Most would say yes.
That's hilarious. If it's overwhelming.
Well,
yes.
would they say
It
it
is-
though in a poll like that? Though?
It is
And I'm still gonna say
surprisingly, it is
Close.
surprisingly closer than you would imagine.
well, he's better than
54
most commissioners. Yeah.
54.5% said yes. 45.5% said no.
That's fair.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was it. That's the NHL player poll from The Athletic.
Pretty sure I won.
Yeah, no,
I win.
Yes.
Boom. Let's go. D-Rock Beams Masterclass.
All right. You guys want to wrap the show there?
Yeah, I think that's a good way. That was a fun game. That was good stuff there. Good,
Yeah.
good shit.
Actually, one more thought. My dad sent me an article today. I think it was posted maybe a week or two ago from The Athletic, but it was just discussing like cannabis use in the retraction of like drinking culture in the NHL and how it's like so different from what even was like 10 years ago. It was an interesting article. You guys should all go and read it. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
the dietary stuff has come such a long way, like the preparation, the nutrients
Yeah.
and stuff. Like these guys would be probably cranking brewskis like right after, even probably before. Some guys would be smoking cigarettes in the locker room before these games. Now it's like a whole different story, right? I mean, it's less the exercising and more as much of it is what you're eating, the prep work you do, like what you're taking in and stuff is such a big part of the game today.
Yeah, a lot of
Be
it
better
is
shape.
a lot of it is like guys wanting to take better care of their bodies. Some of it is like COVID. It got people used to staying in more. And then there was an amazing, because it was mostly anonymous, but there was an amazing quote that like a veteran said that like, if you can't play in this league hungover, then you can't play in this league. And that fired me up.
Today's NHL, man, I don't think you get away with that. Maybe in the past, but I don't know.
Well, no, that's what they did. Like, Justin, that's what they did like 8 years ago. Guys would like,
Yeah, I
like,
know,
Have
yeah.
you heard stories about the Blackhawks 2010 team? They would go
Oh,
out
I've
and
heard- oh.
celebrate after every single win, and especially after they would go on benders after series wins. Like they would get ripped.
Oh, I've heard stories. Yeah.
Yeah,
Patrick Kane would have a lot of fun in his teenage years. Yeah.
it was like a big part of that. Was like how guys bonded. Is they would go out on the road. You'd go out for dinner, and then you'd go out and hit the town and drink, play pool, whatever it was. And that doesn't really exist anymore, and it's mainly
It's just social
eating
media, like the
edibles.
culture, like these young guys is a little different now. Maybe this generation.
Yeah, I
don't
think-
know,
I
more-
think our
more
generation-
introverted.
I
yeah.
think that's a thing for our generation in general. Like, I think drinking is becoming less and less significant, and I think the rise in popularity and legalization of marijuana has played a role in that too. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting article. Some really good quotes in it. I'd recommend taking a read at it. But yeah, that's all. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smoke more weed.
I'm not even saying that's necessarily good, but we're
Weed's
back.
too strong nowadays, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can. There's ways. You can just hit it once or twice. You don't have to fucking kill a J.
No,
I
I'm just
prefer
saying,
the
like,
brewski's greater.
Yeah, I just weed's too strong.
Yeah,
We're like crossing strains, trying to get like
no,
the
you're
ultimate,
right.
yeah,
Fucking,
like something to send you to Mars, and
smoking like rookie year Patty Kane is like a strand probably that's like 98% THC that will kill you.
bring back meds.
Yeah,
All right.
nothing wrong with some Reggie.
Showtime, man, and that's what I'm saying. When I hear these complaints and stuff about like Bedsy and stuff, like, man, that guy's giving it like everything, not just on and off the ice. But obviously the team sucks, but it's just a different culture now with these young players. And like Patrick came back there, yeah, the team was great, but like, he was also enjoying himself quite a bit off the ice. So, but it's a different culture now.
Yeah. All right. That's it from us. Live show at Midwest Coast Brewing, March the 5th. We will be at the K-Wings game against the Fort Wayne Comets on March the 2nd. That is a Sunday. It is an afternoon game, too. So
Oh, woof! So
Yeah.
that's gonna be an early
A
morning.
matinee? Oh
Can't get-
boy.
maybe need to stay in and play video games and smoke weed on my birthday instead of drinking.
all right.
Spoil the plans here, man. I keep this confidential, man.
Yeah. But yeah, we will be probably
It's
having a
legal,
and
shut up.
we lose, and yeah, it is legal, and we're all above age.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we own the podcast, that platform that we're on. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can say
That's
whatever.
the nice thing about doing this. Yeah.
But
We're our own bosses over here.
yeah, true. Well,
We'll have a
not
Patrick
you two.
King
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo. We have to have a
I can
catered
tell my
Cinco de
boss
Mayo
that I'm
party
smoking
for
weed, and he's
Cosmos.
not going to be he's not going to say shit about it to me. So
Yeah, and yeah, so that we'll be like getting up early. Keep in mind, we like lose an hour or two when we go as soon as we go over to
Oh yeah,
Michigan.
because the
like,
time zones.
So
Yeah,
it's like a 3-hour drive, but we're really having to plan out like 4 hours, and we got to get there a little bit before because we're doing the arena tour. So, anyways, come to the K-Wings game if you want. We'll be there. Come to the live show. RSVP link is in the description of this episode, both audio and video. If you're in YouTube, if you're in Spotify or Apple, like you can find the RSVP link right there. Right, it's super easy. And yeah, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please, please, please follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio and leave a 5-star rating and review. Super easy to do on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but it helps us out a lot. And if you're like, man, I hear him say it all the time, but I don't really know how much it helps them. Like what does me, one human being, leaving a 5-star review actually do for these guys? It does a lot. Like it does a ton for us. Yeah, because those ratings, for those that don't know, like, what they do is if somebody is listening to another hockey podcast, right, and they don't have anything queued up next, these platforms will, like, in the algorithm, they'll suggest other shows. So we want Justin with the hockey news. Dude, I think you're the first person to buy an issue of the hockey news in a long time. Like, I don't know how many people actually
it's
buy.
a cool cover.
No, it is. It is.
I mostly got this for the Bedard, right? Yeah.
You don't have a subscription to the hockey news, right?
No, I don't think anymore. I don't know. The pages are all stuck together here, but yeah, I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
End the show.
End the show. End the show. That's it. We'll see everybody Friday. We'll see everybody tonight for the post-game show. We'll see everybody Friday for the show. Peace out.